show, everyone. And who do we have here? Another special guest. We have Dom, other known as Dominic Torino. Well, yeah, I kind of messed up this intro before, man. It was a lot more funnier when I said it earlier, man. But it's all about family, right? Is that what he says?
Yeah, it's all about family.
Family, right?
I don't know. I feel like it should be enough.
So Dominic here, he's
a wife beater to say that.
He's an Irish man, but he definitely looks more Italian than Irish. I don't know what's going on with this guy.
I'm 50-50, dude. I'm 50-50.
50-50. Oh,
yeah.
whoa, 50-50.
Mother's maiden name is Esposito. Forget it.
Hey, that's a real Italian name there for you. So, Dominic here, he's another one that made it to the finish line. He is, we would want to say, thriving and surviving after that, but he joined a whole nother rat race. Oh, man. So, wish Dominic all the best in his life here. All that other stuff, man, in his future endeavors and everything. So, he actually came up all the way from Texas. Good old Texas, man. The Heartland, right? The Heartland? Is that what they call it? No.
Maybe. More like the Panhandle. Yeah.
Panhandle?
Yeah, West Texas.
West
Closer
Texas.
to New Mexico. Yeah.
Oh, New Mexico? Yeah, I gotcha.
Closer to New Mexico.
I gotcha. So, West Texas. Is there like a rival East versus West over there?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, but I mean, it's really amongst themselves, but I'm not too privy to it because being a Yankee, they just don't like me in general.
You're a transplanter.
Yeah, exactly.
You're fucking transplanted there.
I'm only one step up from anybody that comes from California. Like, they hate everyone who comes from California.
And they hate everyone from the East Coast?
Yeah.
I got you, man. All right. So let's get into some doozy of questions here. We'll go with the famous one back in the day. We're going to start with, if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
You know, listening to your podcast, it's funny. I've said this to you before, but real quick, I heard a quote a long time ago is, you've never known what it's like to be a ghost until you've listened to someone else's podcast.
Yeah, you were talking about this, man.
Because you listen to a podcast and you're yelling at your radio or phone or whatever, you're making a comment. So when I've listened to the podcast before and you've asked people this, every time I say to myself, I'm like, okay, superpower. Does that mean I get to replicate a specific superhero, or do I have to narrow it down to just one superpower? Because I'm a comic book geek. Like, I'll admit that. I've always been, still am.
Good.
So there's plenty of heroes or anti-heroes or villains that I could say, yes, I want their exact powers. Or do I have to just pick one?
Well, it's your show, man. Leave it up to you. You can pick any superpower you want, all the superpowers you want in the world, whatever you want to do, man. Let's throw it out there.
He is not in any way, shape, or form my favorite superhero. Not in any way, shape, or form.
Like, so this guy, you're
like
picking
Marvel, it's the Punisher, obviously. Okay. You know,
I gotcha.
DC, it's Batman. That's what it's always been for me. Okay, those are my top tier for Marvel and DC. But okay, so this guy I'm going to tell you is not my favorite superhero in any way, shape, or form. But he encapsulates all the powers that I want. So it would be Superman. And here's why. Because I told you I'm a comic book geek, and I don't care if this makes me look childish. It is what it is. I don't care.
All right, come on.
There's a great episode of the Justice League animated series where they're fighting Darkseid. And he's just whooping up on the Justice League. Yeah. And Batman gets like thrown across the room, and Darkseid walks away from him, and Batman jumps on his back and tries to put him in a sleeper hold. And Darkseid's like,
what are you doing?
Yeah, he's like, are you kidding me? He's like, really? And he like kind of throws him off and tosses him across the room, and Superman sees it. And Darkseid goes like, you know, like I said, he's like, really? Is this for real? And Superman goes like, that's what you don't understand about my teammates. Is like, he will fight until his dying breath.
Oh, yeah.
And this is where it gets good. Superman says, every day I feel like I live in a world made of cardboard. Mm-hmm. Like, I have to be careful of what I do and how I release my powers.
Yeah.
He goes, but this is a rare opportunity where I can let loose because you can take it, can't you, big boy? And he proceeds to just
Smash
unleash on Darkseid. Like he just annihilates him. And it's like, that's what people don't realize. It's like Superman has everything, you know, speed of sound, flight, and you know, the heat vision and the super strength. So that just I would just,
he has it all.
You know, like why would I just narrow myself down to just one power? Like, you know, the whole strength, or Batman, you know, all the money and all the martial arts skills. Like, no, I want the whole package. Like, I'm selfish.
Want it all.
I want it all. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
that's what I would sign up for.
Does. That's definitely makes sense, man. Definitely a big superhero geek as well.
No, yeah. We could go on for days with that.
So it's very interesting as you picked the Punisher and you picked Batman, which are both humans, just at the highest level of athleticism, as well as, you know, Batman's a billionaire and gadgets and all this other stuff.
Right.
Punisher is just a simple man, and his family was tragically lost. And
with the training of being a, you know, special forces Marine, a MARSOC, you know.
All right.
Everything that he got in that training, if you go back to the original story, Vietnam.
Well,
so,
he was.
So he has that knowledge as well that he's honed over the years. Yeah.
All right. So sticking with that, what's the best Batman movie? Go ahead. You could pick two. You could pick two.
We'll go with the first one.
With Michael Keaton.
With Michael Keaton, yeah, the original, because that's when Batman became serious again.
Yes, Batman, Dark, all that other stuff.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Where like Tim Burton brought it back to what it was supposed to be, like literally the Dark Knight, and Keaton, he represented that. Because prior to that, in the '60s, like I don't even recognize the Adam West Batman. Like that's not my Batman.
Yeah.
And then I guess maybe even, you know, maybe second or related to that is any of the animated Batman movies with Kevin Conroy. Okay. Because like that holds a special place in my heart, because the Batman the Animated Series would come on in the afternoons after school.
After school, yeah.
So, you know, not going into any gory detail to not hurt anyone's feelings, but like I kind of grew up in a chaotic, emotional Italian Catholic household. You know, there was a lot of chaos, and that when that Batman would come on, like that was a small 30-minute part of my life where
an escape.
Yeah, exactly. There was just, you know, and you know, I was raised by a single mother, so there was like that father figure aspect, you know, and it was just, again, it was dark. Like people don't know, like anybody who's, you know, our age who's watched that cartoon,
absolutely.
All of that was drawn on black paper. So any light colors that you see were added. Like every scene of that cartoon was drawn on black paper. So that was like, again, it brought it back to the Dark Knight, the grittiness and the you know, and it encapsulated everything. And and Kevin Conroy, like that voice, he was my Batman. So any animated Batman the Animated Series cartoon, like movie, because there's like Mask of the Phantasm and there's other ones like, you know, the Justice League movies,
the Killing Joke, all that stuff.
And again, they're animated, and people don't watch them because they're like, well, they're cartoons. Like I'm not going to watch it straight to DVD, or, you know, nowadays it's straight to video on demand or whatever. So if it's not in the theaters, or it's not Christian Bale, or if it's not Ben Affleck, they think it doesn't count. But like the script writing on those it's intense. It's Batman, So again, that holds a special place in my heart as a kid. Like, quick story: Kevin Conroy, he grew up as a theater actor in New York. So on 9/11, he went down and was feeding first responders and guys that were on Ground Zero. And he was at a cafeteria, he was feeding them. And one guy, like a firefighter, I think it was, or something, he's like serving him, and he goes, wait a minute. He goes, you're Batman.
Yeah.
And I might mess this up, but I think Kevin Conroy did like the thing for him. He was like, I am vengeance. I am the knight. And the guy goes, yo, we got Batman feeding our food. And the whole place went crazy. So you know what I mean? So like Kevin Conroy he's special, man. He's really special. So anything that he involved in him, like that would be number one.
Nice. Good stuff. Let's see here. Let's get into this next question here, man. Let's see. If people come with a warning label, what would yours say?
Oh my God. See, this is the part with the ghost. Like anybody's going to listen to this, they're going to be like,
oh man,
this is what his warning label would say.
What's great is you guys out there,
you
can write it in the comments below. Oh yeah. What do you think Dominic's warning label would say?
I can't wait to see that. That's going to be, don't hold back either. Great. You can't hurt my feelings. I'm retired now. There's nothing you can say that'll hurt my feelings.
Exactly.
What would my warning label say? Wow.
Beware of insult.
No. Gosh. There's like a million things running through, but I'm trying to pick the best one.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Like, man. I don't want to give you multiples. I just want to give you one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh man.
Like, oh my gosh.
I should ask this question to people around you. Is what I should do.
Yeah, well, like I said, they're gonna post in the comments. I know one person in particular, called Amber, who's gonna put multiple comments. She's gonna have multiple
I can't wait. It's gonna be awesome.
I'm like leaning towards handle with care, and that's not so much like
because you're fragile or you're about to explode.
More like that.
More like like warning.
Warning. Warning, handle with care, keep away from open flame. Yeah, explosive material inside. Yeah, exactly. Like, not so much like, oh, he's gentle, like don't hurt him. It's more like, be careful opening that box. Yeah. But I was also kind of like leaning towards break glass in case of emergency.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Yeah, I would put handle with care because I'm damaged goods, man. Like just a whole amalgamation of messed up stuff. So,
yeah, we're all damaged goods, man. But we're making it. We are making it. Oh, all right. Here, let's keep this shit going. All right. If you could pick up any skill instantly, what would it be? No, it's still going.
Okay. What was the question?
I said if you could pick up any skill instantly, what would it be?
Oh, carpentry, 100%.
Carpentry.
Yeah, like my mother's father, my grandfather growing up, he could do anything with wood. Like that man could just see something and just make it. Like he would make his own rifle buttstocks. He built my aunt's house onto his house, like, just straight up. And I've always been jealous of anyone that can work with wood and create something like that. Like when you see a house being built, like that to me is impressive because you are, number one, like I am horrible at math. Like it's two different sides of the brain. I'm pretty good with the King's English and history and art. As far as like math and stuff like that, like I absolutely suck at it. I'm the worst. So not only having the ability to like measure and read a tape measure and being able to like make accurate cuts and, and just the vision, being able to see what you want to create, out of wood. Like, I don't want to talk out of turn and speak about anybody who's not here, but I don't think it's like a secret, but like Paul, like he built like a log cabin once, he ended up
I'm going to have to talk to Paul about this because man, well, I know he goes up hunting. I think he goes to Maine or Vermont, one of those two. I'm not exactly sure.
He does like down south and he does like up north, like Pennsylvania, Maine.
I was going to say, I did see quite a few places where they can actually make log cabins.
Yeah.
And that's something that
But I mean, he like made his from like, I don't know if, what exactly the process was, but just to be the ability to do that. Or even like that plyo box that you have right there. The box jump, like to be able to get the cuts right and do the dovetail.
Make all that stuff.
Yeah. So carpentry, 100%. And the math that goes with it. So
but I think maybe it's not necessarily the skill of carpentry, but the envision of it,
Yeah.
looking at a piece of, I guess, wood or a tree or something, and like envisioning where it's going to go or what it's going to do. Just having that creativity, I think that might be a part of it.
Yeah, because I can be creative in a totally
different way,
different realm.
Yeah,
but I don't see the world in a creative picture like certain artists do. I think carpenters and artists have that in common.
Yeah,
where
absolutely.
they see like a graffiti artist, like they see something and they're like,
they see a wall and they can
create this,
fucking paint it, and all that stuff. Yeah.
Like I just saw a post on Instagram today. It was a old Soviet bomb shelter or something like that. It was like dome shaped, and someone turned it into R2D2. Like an artist painted it and turned it into R2D2. And I'm
that's
like,
so funny.
see, that's genius. Like I would just see that and be like, all the moss growing on it, and be like, oh, that's cool. That's from the 80s during the Cold War. This guy's like, yeah, well, hold my beer. Watch this. So, yeah, I think that's impressive. Being able to do that and see the world in that view. Like my son is that way. He has taught himself to play the piano. He's taught himself to play the guitar. He can draw. He sees the world in that kind of view, and that's impressive.
Yeah, man. Come on, get up in there and slurp that coffee. Want to hear them slurps?
Hear that. I'm really trying to be respectful of everyone.
I think Cindy wants to hear them slurping.
There it is.
Joking. All right, let's get into the next one here. All right. If you could have any celebrity be your best friend, who would you pick?
Celebrity best friend. Wow.
Yeah, celebrity best friend.
That's never even crossed my mind because like I enjoy.
Well, who do you think is a celebrity? See, so me.
You know what?
Go ahead,
Jocko.
All right,
I think Jocko's a celebrity now. Okay. Yeah, I would love for Jocko to be my best friend.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, long story short, Dom over here, he turned me on to Jocko. He's like, hey man, here's a book. Read the book. Here's a podcast. Jocko was on Tim Ferriss, and he was also on Joe Rogan, where I think you first heard him, right?
He was on
the Joe Rogan one?
No, he was on Ferriss and then then Rogan right after that.
Yeah.
He was touring his book.
Which was the first one that you heard?
Tim Ferriss, because I used to listen to Tim Ferriss all the time. I didn't start to listen to Rogan until after Jocko was on there.
Gotcha.
This was back in 2015.
Damn, that's crazy. Yeah. Well, Joe Rogan's the godfather of podcasts.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when Jocko came out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say came out. When Jocko came on the scene.
Yeah. And you knew this for a while, man. You told me about this. And then I listened to both of those, all on board, bought the books. Then at that time, like when I listened to it, like he had already started his podcast. So I started listening to all those. Those are 3-hour podcasts. I told Eric about it. Boy, Eric got mad at me. He was so fucking mad.
Because I didn't
tell him. So mad you didn't tell him. I had to tell him. So mad. And
Eric,
like,
why did you keep this from me? I was like, well, it wasn't on purpose.
Well, I'm trying to keep getting Eric on here. He the most fittest grandpa in the world that I know. and that I know. Yes. Yep. And if he does listen to, I'm sure he will listen to this because you're on.
He probably will, but yeah, I would agree. He's the most fittest grandpa we know, that we personally know. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
CrossFit instructor. He's helped me out. Diet, nutrition, all that stuff. So
he is an amazing human being. I love it.
He is, man. I love that dude.
Yeah. And he would be very angry to hear us say that.
Well, I would like to have him on the show, man. I'm trying to get him on the show.
Yeah, but you gotta understand, like it's delicate.
I understand where he's at in his position and all this other stuff. It happens, man. It's okay. One day.
I don't know. Maybe he'll come on wearing a mask.
Yeah, that's what he wants to do. I'll blur his face out. I'll alter his voice. I could do that with these mics.
Yeah.
So we could, wait until I have your voice is going to be like a little girl's voice.
Oh, God. Just give me like 5 minutes of my real voice and then you can alter it just so everybody knows.
Yeah. So.
So I would say Jocko.
You say Jocko.
It would be the dude from who played American Sniper, Bradley Cooper. He seems cool. He seems down to earth. He's from our area.
Texas.
Really like the Philadelphia area.
Oh,
Philadelphia. Yeah, he's like a Philadelphia guy. His mom's got a place in Brigantine.
Hmm.
He seems like down to earth. He seems cool to hang with. Like,
Gotcha.
So yeah, someone like that.
So I would probably pick Joe Rogan or Dave Chappelle, because you figure like you'd have a comedian would make you laugh all the time, but he would probably just make jokes of me.
Dave Chappelle, I think, would make jokes of you. Rogan, I think, would be a fun hang.
Yeah, just to hang out with. I would just like to hang out with this guy.
Yeah, where I think Chappelle would just be. I think Chappelle's at the point in his life where he's just like, he would just make fun of you like all the time. So that might get old quick, but I think Rogan would be a better hang.
I don't know,
be a better friend with.
It'd be fun. All right, so it's 2023, man. I want to know your stance on aliens.
Oh, well.
Do you believe in aliens?
Yeah, I mean, it's stupid to think. First of all, people don't understand how large space is.
Have you been in space?
Unfortunately, not.
Me neither, man.
That would
so
be badass.
We don't even know. But I mean, you can see.
For instance.
Okay, go ahead.
When you look at the moon, you're looking at it 5 minutes ago.
Yeah,
like you're not looking at an active. That's how light speed works. And people don't understand that. Like recently, the James Webb Telescope was able to see the Big Bang, which means the creation of the universe. And people were like, well, wait, what? Like that already happened. Like, how does that work? And that means because like light speed, like it hasn't caught up to us yet. So we're like looking at something that happened. Right. So when you look at the moon, you're not looking at it at present time. You're looking at it 5 minutes in the past. Another thing is there are more stars in our known galaxy, not all the galaxies, just the Milky Way, than there are grains of sand on this planet.
Yeah.
Not beaches.
Sand.
Individual grains of sand. So there are more stars in our known galaxy than there are grains of sand on this planet. So think about that for a second.
And stars, when we say stars are pretty much suns.
Yeah, right.
It's a sun.
They're mini suns,
it's a sun.
Right? Some are big, some are small, some die, some get bigger, some get larger. Like, our sun is a star that luckily hasn't exploded yet and hopefully won't for a very long time. So with that said, and that's just our galaxy. Like there are tons of galaxies. So I don't necessarily think that aliens are what we've portrayed them in TV and movies, like, the bald head, green, gray, skinny bodied, whatever. Like, if anything, it's more likely there are different timelines. So to think in the exhaustive nature of space that we are the only planet with the only living beings on it is just stupid. Like,
be very ego.
Yeah, I heard another astrophysicist explain, like, to say that we've discovered the majority of space is like taking a glass, like taking this cup or taking your glass, dipping it in the ocean, okay, and then putting it down and going, yep, there's no fish in the ocean. Like that's as much as we've seen.
That's pretty good, man. That's pretty interesting. Yeah.
And not only that, but there was another professor I heard one time, and this kind of doesn't relate to space, but it kind of relates to just not necessarily humanity, but just like the creatures evolving, right?
Yeah.
So you take a roll of toilet paper, take your average roll of toilet paper, it's pretty big, right? Open it up and roll it out all the way. Like you're gonna cover, I don't know,
maybe 100 yards.
Maybe. I mean, if it's a good roll from like BJ's or Sam's Club or something like that, yeah, maybe. I don't know. But it's going to be pretty damn long, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you go to the beginning. The beginning of that roll is like the beginning of this planet existing, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And then at the end of that roll, like, so go all the way. So you have like existence of this planet, timeline where you have everything, amoebas and, fish climbing out of water and, dinosaurs and the ice age and whatever, blah, blah, blah. You go all the way to the end of that roll, go 2 inches in, like 2 inches, maybe make a mark. And that's how much impact human beings have had on this planet.
Yeah.
Meaning like the first upright apes to use tools and to grunt to each other. And that's, like, so just keep that in mind, like how old this planet is, how long it's been in existence, how much of a less of an impact that human beings have had on it than everybody thinks we do. Like, I don't want to go into the whole climate denying thing, but like everyone's like, oh, we're destroying the planet. Like, no, we're not even close. This planet has survived so much more and will continue to survive so much more and can really put up like other better things that we can do. Yeah, like don't throw your trash on the ground. Like that's simple.
Yeah.
Like, don't pollute the oceans, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But we're not going to destroy this planet. Like, if anything, it will fix itself and be like, okay,
it's going to take over.
You pests are getting on my nerves, and I'm going to find a way to fix you. So to go back to your original question, that's just the Milky Way. That's just Earth on the Milky Way.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, man.
There are so many other galaxies. So to be naive and say that there is another life out there. And again, I think it's also like kind of like a timeline thing. Like there might be other Earths in another timeline, like, time and space. Multiverses. Yes. Multiverses. Right. Which everyone's like, oh, we're just getting that from Marvel. Like, no, where do you think Marvel got it from?
Yeah.
It's been an idea for a long time. They didn't create the idea of a multiverse.
Absolutely. So, but there's quite a few things as you were saying. So I pick up the aliens thing because that's the hottest topic now in the news and everything.
Yeah. I think the fact that the United States government, in a way, is like admitting, like, yeah, there's aliens and we have alien spacecraft. Well, now I don't believe anything you guys are saying. Like,
no, I don't
that's
believe,
just a
I
distraction.
don't believe what the government says.
No one. Who like,
believes the government? Let
me see. Like, for the longest time, you denied it. And also, like, oh, it's just in the United States. Like, aliens are they only care about these 50 clumps of land. Like,
oh, yeah, man.
Come on, dude. Whatever. So,
because we're so amazing.
Yeah. Like, whatever you may have or whatever you have created, like, stop it. But so anything that they're admitting, like, the big meme joke out there is like the United States admits that there's aliens. No one cares. The Eagles bring back the Kelly Green jersey and everyone's like, ah.
yeah, man. That's so funny. But a couple things as you were saying. So I just saw something recently as they were talking about like the meteor that killed the dinosaurs. Instead of that being a meteor, there was actually a spaceship that crash landed, and humans came out of it, which is kind of interesting. Like it was like a crash.
Where did you see this?
Huh?
Who said this?
I don't know who said this, but I saw
somewhere online.
Yeah, this I saw something online. Like
that's interesting.
It was something interesting for me to entertain it and kind of like talk about it a little bit. Like,
so I'm going to straight up say, yeah, that's fucking stupid.
I know,
I don't believe it.
But it was like
but
basically saying we're aliens and we crashed onto this planet so long ago, and
it's kind of like a Scientology thing.
Yeah, I guess.
But to play around with that in an entertainment aspect, what would be funny about that is that if that were to be true, you think about it when like you look at the creation of the pyramids.
Well, there you go. That's another thing too.
Stonehenge or the
advanced
Easter
civilization.
Islands.
Yes.
Like you look at these primitive cultures that didn't have modern tools and modern technology, and you look at them and people still wonder to this day. Like there's been a couple ideas like how they did it.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
But there's no definitive answer as to how those things are created. So you look at it like, okay, well, if this species of this humanoid species lands on this planet with this advanced technology and they build these cultures and cities and blah blah blah, and they end up killing the dinosaurs, whatever, and then but what would be interesting is like, well, why did we devolve? Like why have we become dumber over time, and why did we go backwards?
Look at us now. I think we are, as a human race, we are devolving.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Majority of people out there.
That goes back to the culture that's saying like, hard times create strong men create easy times create weak men.
Yeah.
Which you can say men and women.
And that's where that's where we're at now. Almost kind of like.
Who's that? The half Asian guy who's on the podcast, Mike something. He does the Fieldcraft Survival.
Oh yeah.
He just put out a public plea to Jocko to run for president. He's like, that made me think of that because, hard times create strong men. That saying. He put out a public plea to Jocko to run for president and save the country. He's like, the country's in crisis, and he's like, get on board. He's like, spam Jocko. He's like, repost this. Mike something. I can't remember his name.
I think some people actually wrote his name on the last election, in the ballot there.
If things keep going the way they are, I might as well. Yeah, I can. Yeah, I might also do this.
Oh man, I don't know. I'd like to see like a Dan Crenshaw and a Tulsi Gabbard duo or something like that.
Don't hold your breath.
That'd be pretty interesting, since they were both on Jocko. All that stuff.
I agree. Yeah.
See what I'm saying? But we will see, man. We shall see.
Yeah. So aliens, yes, they exist. We just haven't.
Do you think the aliens are going to be hostile? Do you think they're going to be friendly? Do you think they're going to share technologies and all that stuff?
The same way any species is. There's going to be some that are going to be hostile. There's going to be some that are going to be invitive. There's, it just could be like there could be a version out there where like you and I are women, like that's alien. Like there could be an Earth too, where, you and I are doing a podcast about fucking cooking bacon brownies or cookies or some shit. Like, where it's like your name's Carly and my name's Dominique.
Okay, Dominique. Clay that on Dominique.
Like it could be something that simple, or it could be a completely different oddity that doesn't even look the same. They could be just liquid form,
gas or something. Who knows?
Yeah,
who knows what? But interesting.
But to be naive and say like in this vast, shit, they could be under the sea. Like we've discovered more of space than we have our own ocean. Yeah. Like you can't even get to the bottom of the deepest, darkest depths of the ocean. Like there could be a whole thing down there. So
absolutely.
I don't know, but I know it won't happen in my lifetime.
Antarctica.
Especially if I keep putting whiskey in my coffee.
There's another, I guess, conspiracy theory about Antarctica.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's I heard something recently that there is a cave, supposedly the military way back in the day like flew through it, and there's like a whole nother land in there and all this other stuff.
Yeah, that's where Captain America dropped off and he was frozen for 75 years. And
something like that.
Yeah.
Oh man, there's so many conspiracy theories and all that stuff about flat Earth and other things and all this other crazy shit.
Flat Earth is one of the easiest conspiracy theories to ever overrun, or overrule, or disprove. Excuse me, disprove.
Yes, disprove.
There's a great video out there of a flat earther setting up a camera, and he literally in the process disproves flat Earth theory by doing that. So that's dumb.
Oh, man. All right, onto another thing. You think there will ever be a zombie apocalypse?
God, I hope so. I wish.
My man.
God, I hope so.
My man.
I'm to the point now that I've even told the kids there will be. I'm just gonna murk just regular people and just say they're a zombie, people I don't like, or people that have things that I want. You have food, you have ammo, you have a car that works, whatever. I don't like you. I've never liked you. Boom, you're a zombie. Who's gonna tell me otherwise? It's a zombie apocalypse. It's every man for himself. I'm not gonna go full Negan and with a baseball bat with barbed wire. I'll kind of just keep to myself. I'm not ready to start a whole
I don't think Negan started out
community.
Like that. I think he progressed to that level.
Yeah, but then he got power hungry and he wanted this whole community around it. I don't want that. I don't want to lead anybody.
Man, you might have your own community.
Zombie apocalypse. I don't know. You get in the right community down in Florida and people are still doing bath salts. You got your own zombie apocalypse there. You never know.
Supposedly they found a zombie gene in I don't know, Antarctica.
Well, you look at the last show on HBO, Last of Us. Like that is the closest possible theory to the mind being overrun, because there is a fungus out there that will take over insects and quote unquote zombify insects. Absolutely. It will make these insects live a life as a host for this fungus.
Any type
could that potentially
parasite?
Parasitic fungus, right? Could that potentially do the same thing to human beings? Like, maybe we just haven't found it yet in the deepest, darkest depths of Brazil, or maybe there are some tribes out there in Brazil who have found it and who are, keeping it hidden so that it doesn't take over. But, I don't know, but I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
Where would you go? Oh,
we already have this planned out. Like, I would definitely go back straight up to Lubbock. Like, I'd scoop up the kids.
Yep.
I'd run by the jail. I would eliminate whoever I had to so that I could liberate as much munitions as possible. And then go right out back to Lubbock, because it's kind of like central nation wide. So gotcha. The nations that could potentially hit us with nukes, it's going to be coasts. So we're kind of like almost in the middle. So will we eventually get some fallout?
Yeah.
Maybe. But we're close enough to like Oklahoma, and we have cotton fields, and we have cows, and we have pigs, and
sustainability and all that stuff. Sustainability.
Yeah. Yeah. And also there's plenty of munitions out there because it's Texas, obviously. And actually, this is going to make me sound like a weird conspiracy theorist, which I'm not. I'm not a conspiracy theorist guy. I'm not a prepper guy. Yeah, I'm not like one of those like bunker guys. But when Russia started invading Ukraine, like I told Amber, I was like, okay, we got 2 like metal racks and put them in the garage. And I was like, just randomly make trips to Walmart and just start getting Chef Boyardee and canned vegetables and bottled water, like stuff like that, because like it's gonna get worse before it gets better. And I really hope that we sustain ourselves as a nation. And again, I know this sounds conspiracy theorist, and people are gonna listen to this and go like, what the hell?
Yeah, no.
Did he go crazy when he retired?
Like 5 fucking people listen to this.
Yeah, well,
and there's 2 of them in this room.
4 of them are going to be like
2 of us are in the room. You got 3 other people that are out there.
Yeah, but didn't you say you had somebody like Ireland or something, or Australia that listened, or some crap?
Let's see, on on Spotify. There was, where were people at, man? I had a map of it. People in Ghana.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, okay. Africa. So Africa, I think South America. And Josh was like, the whole world is chilling with Carl now. I was like, we're not there yet, man. We're not there yet. I think Amsterdam.
Well, you could say chilling with Carl is worldwide. That's an accurate statement. Yeah.
I am worldwide. I'm on the World Wide Web.
Yeah, so you're worldwide. Yeah, so I don't think that it's going to be straight up like apocalypse, like,
I think it's
Terminator
more like
2, but
anarchy.
There's a great company out there that's like expect to self-rescue.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And that's where I'm coming from. Like
family, friends, all that stuff.
I'm going to have to eliminate individuals in order to make my family survive, and I want to decrease that number.
This is true.
Which sounds messed up.
But at the same time too, numbers are strong. That's another thing too.
Certain
so you gotta,
numbers. Yeah. Yes. I'm going to be very picky. Like I'm not just going to like let anybody into my circle.
No.
Right.
No.
So as much as we can self-sustain as possible, I'm attempting to do that. And what was even the original question? How did we?
The original question was about zombies.
Yeah.
Asking about zombies, zombie apocalypse, all that stuff. And then I asked you, where would you go? You said back to Texas, Central.
Yes. Where would
you
we
have
go?
agriculture, all this stuff.
Like I would take my kid, like I'd pick up my kids and take my kids and we go to Texas. Yeah. Amber already knows that.
So there was a Netflix series. I'm not sure if it's still on there, but I think it was the closest, I think the most raw, gritty experience of like the beginnings of a zombie apocalypse, and that was called Black Summer.
Was it fictional or non-fictional?
It was fictional. Fictional, non-fictional, kind of like.
I don't think I've seen that.
They didn't necessarily tell you when how it started, but
we're getting a special guest call in.
Yeah, go ahead, man. So do you want to put that up there? Up. What are you doing? Hopefully it doesn't fall.
That's definitely falling shortly.
Okay.
If I fart wrong, it's going to fall.
Oh, God, don't fart. So, the show Black Summer, it was just raw and gritty just because, like, you would see random people, like, in chaotic mess, like anarchy and all this stuff. And then you'd see random people meet up and they were, like, helping each other. And then they were going for, like, a certain distance, and then one would die or something like that, and they would just keep moving and everything else like that. What was I going to say? It was just to see, like, human nature, what we would actually do for survival and stuff. Like
I think that ebbs and flows with the changes of society. I think if a zombie apocalypse happened, you know, depending on the cultures, I think if a zombie apocalypse happened in the 1800s, I think society would be able to adapt and survive better. I think if a zombie apocalypse happened in the early 1900s through the 1930s, they'd barely be able to survive. I think if the zombie apocalypse happened in the 40s through the 60s, society would be able to survive a lot better. Okay. I think as a zombie apocalypse happened in the 70s through the 80s, they'd barely be able to survive. And I think, you know, maybe in the early 2000s, it'd be better. I mean, look how we bounced back after 9/11. So I think now...
Have we truly bounced back?
Well, I mean...
We're still bouncing?
We rebuilt, you know.
Yeah,
and
we rebuilt and everything.
Millions of our young men and women step up and go defend the country, which says something about, you know, like you haven't had that since Pearl Harbor. So, but I think now, if it happened now, like, man, like, it'd be slim pickings. Like, there wouldn't be much left afterwards, you know.
Not too many people are patriotic right now.
Not even that, but I just don't think many people would be able to survive. You know, they wouldn't know what to do with themselves. Like, you know, what are you going to do when you don't have any electricity? Like, can you
start a fire? Can
you start a fire? Can you read a map? You know, like, can you get from point A to point B?
And that's the thing. Like back in the day, before we had smartphones and all that stuff, I'd have an atlas map, and I would like, oh, you know, I'm going to Virginia Beach. All right, let me plan this
like
route.
The red
and go this
crayon pencils. Yeah, man. Like you'd map it out. You're like, I'm going to take I this and I that, and you know, route this and route that, and you'd be able to like find a way.
I'd have to stop and like look at the map and be like, all right, I just passed this. Okay, still got some more time.
Yeah.
Get on this highway, get there.
Yeah. Like, what are you going to do when, hold on a second. Can you sit still, please? I see you in my peripheral vision and it's bothering me. Sit still. Don't move.
I can't see you, dummy.
Oh, yeah.
If I keep texting you 3 times and on Messenger, you gotta watch on.
About to put that right here, and you're going to be the third guest.
Anyway,
can you hear us okay? We actually have a surprise guest here.
Oh, here you go.
Man.
Now her face is going to get all right.
Oh, man.
So anyway, what were you saying? Oh, so what are you going to do when you lose electricity? What are you going to do?
You keep looking, man.
When
you're so distracted now.
I know.
So electricity.
ADHD. What are you going to do when there's no fuel depots? Like when the gas stations run out of fuel. Like when you stop at a Wawa, or you stop at a Circle K, or you stop at a Flying J's, or you stop at a Love's, and there's no fuel there. Like, how are you going to like? Do you have extra fuel in your vehicle? Like, are you just going to like these movies romanticize these doomsday scenarios where people just jump in the car and they just drive, and you know they never run out of ammunition, and they never run out of fuel, they never run out of water, they never run out of food. Like
that's the fantasy of it, man. Because like a lot of it would be boring. You're gonna be like 10 hours walking down a road, and you've only gained I don't know. Well, me and my buddies, we did a 10-mile hike. We did it in like 3 hours. So you could cover like that's 3 hours of walking. You know what I'm saying? You're gaining 10 miles.
Right.
Where are you going to make in 10 miles?
Yeah, there's a lot of people that don't take into account.
I think work is 20 something mile. Is it 20 something miles from here? It's 20 something miles from here. And I always plan. I'm like, man, if I ever something happened, no car, no nothing. Like if I had to walk, I could make it here probably in 12 hours. I can make it home in 12 hours.
From Mays Landing?
From Mays Landing. From work to here, it's like 20 something miles. You know, 12 hours I will be home. And that's probably where it would be. Wherever I was at, because here I have resources. I have some stuff that'll get me by for at least, I could live comfortably for a couple weeks. I could really stretch everything for, I would say, a couple months. Like if I'm really stretching. So that would be the main thing is what I have, my resources that I have. I keep building, I keep stocking, but those resources have to keep being recycled.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing. Like
so
you can't just
water,
get some stuff and just let it sit.
No,
you know,
you
like,
have to expiration
it has to be
dates
recycled, right?
Even though that expiration dates they're okay. Like I watched this one guy. He's like Steve 1989, and he does like all these MRE things where he eats them. They're expired stuff. You know,
have you ever eaten an MRE?
Yeah,
they're interesting. They will test your guts.
I can't remember which one that
Keith, shout out to Keith Johnson.
My man.
He gave me some MREs back when I was in training, and I would eat them like just for fun.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
they're rough.
They're rough.
But I mean,
they're interesting. Yeah.
It's sustainable.
Oh, I mean, if you need it to survive, it's going to do the trick. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're bored and you want to eat one for lunch because it's fun,
you're not going to be shitting right for a week.
Not so much. Yeah. You're going to be a little stopped up. Yeah.
But yeah, that's stuff that's
always people don't take into consideration like how hard it is to walk a long distance. Like
not only that walk, but with gear and stuff. So me and Tommy Rivera, we try to do this once a year. We go to Basto, and there is the Mulliga River campground. That's where I go camping. Yeah. So it's like a 4-mile hike in, and it's a 4-mile hike out. So whatever you're bringing with you, it's like sleeping bag, tent, seat, food, you know, toiletries and stuff. You're humping that in for 4 miles, man. And let me tell you, that sucks.
Right. Yeah. You got to have proper footwear. You got to have proper socks.
Yep.
You know, you got to take that into consideration. And then what you got to think about is like in a, you know, last minute doomsday, oh my God, we're under attack scenario. Like that's probably not happening.
Not only that, like I'm not even counting for like weapons or ammo.
That's why like I'm a hypocrite because I'm sitting here saying all this and I barely have any of that stuff ready. I'm just relying on, I'm just going to eliminate whoever does and I'm going to take it from them, which is so messed up to say. Like, I don't want to have to do that. But if it becomes between me and somebody I don't know, me and my kids surviving.
as much as I don't want to mention this person, but I will mention him because he did narrow it down in any type of scenario like that. He said, you can have all the stuff, all the resources, all you want, man. The person with the gun and the ammo is, you know, the one that's going to survive. I'll just take your shit.
Because that's how I feel.
And you probably got this from him. Good old Brucey Bruce.
No, I didn't get it from him, but we just happen to be on the same wavelength. Yeah.
Yeah. Bruce Almighty. This guy. I don't want to talk about it, but anyway.
Okay.
That's a shout out to that guy.
No, I didn't get it from him, but we're on the same we're on the same wavelength. Yeah, there. Yeah.
Oh man, but I think anyone in like a city scenario, like I watched a movie, World War Z with Brad Pitt. That was interesting.
It was
pretty fucking crazy.
It had a great twist.
Yes.
Yeah. Spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen it.
Don't say it. No, go ahead. Spoiler alert.
I mean, that thing. How long's that movie been out now?
I don't know. Forever, man. But you got to remember, people are probably watching this episode 10 years from now.
True.
Because it's on the internet.
You know, I don't care. The movie's been out long enough. The zombies would not attack anybody with a disease.
Yeah.
It basically comes down to that. which is a great twist. Like that's a great twist of the movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's very interesting. Well,
And the fact that it was like,
was it M. Night Shyamalan that did that?
no,
No.
but that's something similar to what he would do.
do.
Yeah, which I like the majority of his stuff. Sometimes his stuff is
I like two of his
he's
movies.
like he's like inconsistent in my opinion. But yeah, it was like something similar to that. And also they were the fast superpower, can run really fast, climb stuff zombies.
Yeah, man.
The other thing I liked about that is I don't know what was he I liked. I don't know if it's as true or not, but how Israel adopted what was it the rule of 7 or something like that. If it was like 6 ever since the Holocaust, if 6 of them agree, one has to not defer, but disagree, so that there's always a dissenting opinion. Do you remember that?
Okay.
Yeah, so is Israel created a plan for a zombie apocalypse, whereas nobody else did. Everybody else thought it was like sci-fi and didn't believe it. And he ended up going to Israel, and that's where he ended up finding the cure, maybe, or something. What of a cure?
More information about it and all that stuff.
And the guy told him, he's like, we have the. I'm probably messing it up. Again, this is where somebody listening is like, they're a ghost. They're yelling at me, going, "It's the rule of 13 or whatever." But it's
That's
still
okay.
something like the rule of 7.
Write it in the comments below, man. That's the beauty of it, but no one does. I mean, Georgie Barretto there. He's pretty good with some of his comments, man. He hasn't written on a couple of them.
Maybe he'll jump on this one.
Maybe, man. I'm trying to. Man, I got a lot of stuff planned. It's hard to get people on here, so. But that's how it is, man. It's not everyone's priority, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. That's what
just shooting the
you
shit.
Just gotta look at it like a fun jam sesh, hangout sesh, whatever.
That's it, man.
I'm gonna get in trouble if I don't apologize for scolding Amber for moving. So, sorry, babe. I love you.
There's the New Jersey salute for you. That's a true Texas woman there.
Don't take no shit. She don't take no shit from her Yankee. She wasn't really bothering me that much. Man. I was just messing around. I love you. Man. You can move as much as you want. I know you're working. Stay safe.
Yeah, she don't care, man. She can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
So. Anyway, talked about zombie apocalypse. We talked about aliens, natural disasters. Let's talk about that, man. What natural disaster would you think you would survive? Earthquake, tsunami.
That's easy. Tsunami, like
drought.
Where am I in a tsunami? Like that's a difference. Like where I'm located in New Jersey, closer to Philly, like it's gonna suck.
But
I'll survive a tsunami.
Yeah.
If I'm down at the Ocean City Boardwalk or visiting Cape May,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
like
man.
You're screwed, Or if I'm back home in Texas, like, hey, sorry about that guy. Sorry about that East and West Coast.
Well, Texas would be more of like a drought.
I mean, right now it's a drought.
Or a tornado.
It's 105.
Tornado.
Listen, when they have tornadoes there, like we have tornado sirens in town, and like they test them on the regular.
Now, are those the sirens like the fire siren? Like we get them
here?
Similar
to that, yeah, similar. Like they don't have fire sirens there like we do here, but they have these tornado sirens. And what they do is they all get their ladders and climb on the roof and go watch and see where it's at.
Oh yeah. They want to see where it's coming from.
I'm in the bathroom with the mattress and inside the tub, like cover myself up, and they're all like, like, hey, let's go see what's going on. Natural disaster, like I've survived a hurricane.
Yeah, we did. Hurricane Sandy, right? I guess Hurricane Sandy.
No, like even before that, like
Hurricane Floyd.
In the 80s, we had one that was bad. I guess Superstorm Sandy, whatever. And then the derecho that we had, that was, that kind of messed things up. But
Gotcha.
I don't know, tsunami, like that kind of scares me because like you're pretty much screwed, man. Like,
force of nature,
if you don't, to like that is one thing I think about, like to watch the ocean just go backwards and just keep going.
Yeah,
and building a wall. Like when you see, like there was recently an earthquake somewhere, I think it was near Hawaii, and they issued a tsunami warning. Like I see that on the news and I'm like, oh man, that's scary. Like,
yeah, man. That's
to
crazy.
watch that happen, to watch the water. Like it's one thing when it's low tide at the bay It's another thing when the ocean is just receding and just keeps going backwards and just builds this wall of water that will eventually break. Like that's got to be scary. Earthquake, I think, is fine. Just get in the doorway, just wait for it to stop. Like a lot of our structures here. Like if you're in an earthquake in the city, that's a different story. That's probably gonna suck. Drought, yeah. I mean that's easy enough. Like you can figure out a water source, or find somebody else with water. And droughts like come on slow, like it's not like you wake up one day and
then there's
the next day it's a drought. Like it's not like you go to bed and the next day there's 6 feet of snow outside. You can figure that out, but I don't know. I don't really think there's a natural disaster I'd be too concerned with unless I was literally at the shore and there was a tsunami.
Yeah, I think I'd still be affected here. I'm pretty close.
Yeah, like you guys would get some residual flooding. Yeah,
definitely.
I don't think you're further enough inland.
No, not at all. Not at all. So, all right. Here's another question for you, man. Let's keep this ball rolling. If you were out in the wild, man, you ran across some type of animal, what would be the worst animal you would want to ever face in the wild? For me, I said shark. But I'm going to up that to a killer whale. Because I'm already in the ocean. I'm already out of my element. I'm already fighting fatigue by swimming. Hyperthermia because of the water. And now I got this killer, this predator.
Killer whales have recently been proven to be nefarious. Like they do shit on purpose.
I watched a video online to where there was like this seal. I forget where it was, but it was like, I wouldn't say like an iceberg, but something with ice and all that stuff. And it was just like sitting there, and it probably thought that it was safe because it was killer whales. Well, there was like these 4 killer whales, man, and they swam underneath this like ice drift or something like that, and broke up the ice, and they ate the seal.
Yeah, and they play with their food too. Yeah.
Freddie told me that killer whales, they will bite you and drag you down to the depths and drown you. And then have your way with you.
I'm going to say a bear because they are just so massive. Like sharks, like, yeah, I agree with you. You're already out of your element. You're in the water.
Yeah.
But just poke that motherfucker in the eye, punch him in the snout. Like,
yeah,
it'll eventually give up. You might get a chunk out of you. Maybe you'll bleed to death. Maybe not. But I think you could, as long as it didn't sneak up on you and just rip your whole thigh off, like, cut your carotid. Like, I think you could punch that thing in the eye or the nose and it would learn its lesson. But a bear, like, they're just so massive, and their hands are just, their paws, they're just so huge, and they just don't care. Like, they eat everything. They eat each other. They're omnivores. Like, they just don't care. Like, they eat everything. They're just, it's so big. Like, you watch that Leonardo DiCaprio movie where it's supposed to be based on a true story where that guy survived that bear attack. Like,
what was that movie called?
Something like The Savage or the
Revenant, not Revenant.
Something like that. Revenant.
It was like
Revenant, I think.
Revenant? Yeah.
Something like that.
I think so. Something like that. Interesting.
But yeah, I would say bear. Yeah, because they're just so freaking big and they just don't care. And they can go from like, you can just get all big and scream and yell and they'll be scared and run away. Or they're just like, nope, not today. Like, you're on the menu. But it's funny you said you said that, and I just recently thought of a video I watched last night where what do you think the fastest animal alive is?
Well, I'd have to either say either a cheetah, maybe an ostrich, or like an emu or something like that, something small.
It's actually the peregrine falcon. They can get up to 240 miles an hour. They
Really?
sit
A
up
falcon.
top
Just soaring.
and like a mountain or whatever, see what they want to hit. They start soaring and they get like an updraft,
Yeah, good.
and then they just missile dive
Yeah,
into
man.
what they want to kill at 240 miles an hour. Like just so you think about that, like, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't want to come across a bear in the wild, but
Yeah.
what if I get a peregrine falcon that's got a hair up its ass? It wants to dive bomb my head at 240 miles an hour. Like, if that thing hits my skull at 240 miles an hour, like we're probably both getting taken out. Like I'm probably getting, brain damaged, or worse, or might just straight up be dead.
Oh,
I don't know.
man.
If I'm wearing the wrong thing on my hat, if I got a white feather stuck to my hat and that falcon's like, oh, that looks like a mouse or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, but if to answer your question, it'd be a bear. Like, I don't want to run across a bear. Like, there's a great Instagram page, Taurons of Yellowstone, like a play on tourists and morons.
Yeah.
And people stop. Well, that's another one, like bison.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, the
bison
buffalo, man.
are practically blind.
They're fucking huge.
And so,
They are huge.
any like sound that they hear around them, they freak out.
Oh, yeah.
And you see in this page, like, post about like people being gored, by a bison because they want to get all up close to it and, interact with it and take pictures. And like, you don't understand, like, this thing's freaking out. Like, it's, its only defense is to ram charge and, use its horns or whatever. But, so yeah, that's another one. But
They actually say,
just don't be stupid. Just enjoy wildlife from afar. Like, you don't need to be up in their shit.
people are stupid though, man. So I guess that's natural selection. That's what I like to believe.
Yeah, that's Mother Nature.
That's
weeding its way out.
Yeah.
There's a reason why the slowest, weakest, in the herd. Yeah.
So two other things with the animals there. Supposedly hippos have killed more people
Yep. Yeah.
than any other animal out there.
Yeah, which is why when you run across that rare video of the domesticated hippo that's walking around the house, that's like, oh, it's our pet. Like, hippos, they don't play around. And I think, I might be wrong, but they do something similar to what alligators do. Like, they clasp down on you and then they also spin, and take you deep underwater. Yeah, but hippos don't play around either. Like, they'll eat whatever's in the water.
And Joe Rogan talked about like a chimpanzee, like
ripping your face off.
They're gonna rip your face off.
Like, their
and,
muscles are
jump
like
around
steel.
and play with it and like put it on or something like that. Yeah, some crazy shit like that, man.
He talks about how the certain types of apes, like, they automatically go for your face, your hands, and your testicles, or your private parts. Depending on what sex you are. Yeah, they rip those three things off, and they can with their bare hands and their bare muscles. Because they're so strong. Like, they're just solid muscle. There's no fat on them. And people are like, oh, cute little monkey. Like, yeah, okay, ripping your face off.
Oh man.
Yeah, no thanks. Yeah, no monkeys as pets.
No monkeys as pets.
No monkeys as pets.
All right. Let's change this up, man. If you could travel anywhere in the world, all expenses paid, where would you go and why?
Oh, it's a toss-up between two places. I only get one.
One for now, man, and we'll go with that after that.
Can I do a coin flip?
You gonna flip a coin? You got a coin?
No, not actively, but can I say that my decision would be based on a coin flip? Am I allowed to give two options? Because I'm really like,
go ahead. Well, it's your show, man. We can talk as long as you
it'd
want.
It'd be a coin flip between Ireland and Italy because, number one, my heritage.
On both sides.
I'm Ulster. Irish means Scotch Irish and Italian. So I not only want to visit the places of both my ancestors and their culture and enjoy that area. They both are rich in history. I'm a huge, huge history buff. I love history. So they both are rich in historical culture and, what they have to offer, Italian food, like to be able to actually eat, actual like ancient grain pasta there and to experience
real food. Like, so the food that we eat here in America is definitely I don't think it's real food. I think when we go to like Italy,
Yeah,
and, like,
well,
eat real Italian food.
yeah, there's a
there.
reason why people like celiac can go there. You know, like my former bosses, it's a husband and wife at Evie Mae's, the barbecue joint I worked at. Like their husband is gluten free. He has celiac disease, so everything on their menu is gluten free. And they went to Italy, and he was able to have some like the pasta there because it's made differently with ancient grains, and it's not
real
not
stuff
processed. Yeah, with real.
We talked about this
stuff.
before when you're like something about bread. I remember you talking about this. You're like, well, what makes bread? And then you look at the bread inside of a store, and you're like, why are there all these?
It should just be eggs, flour, salt. Like that's all it should be.
Yeah.
Right.
Why is there all this like ingredients and all that stuff? Because they make it so
it lasts.
Shelf stable, so it goes from wherever they bake it to there to the shelf, and it lasts there.
Not only that, but afterwards. Right.
Who knows how long?
Like I've got a loaf of wheat bread that I maybe took 2 slices out of. I bought maybe 4 weeks ago. Still, like I found out there's a trick to keep it in the fridge to keep it from getting mold, but like that shouldn't be the case. Like that's not how bread is supposed to work.
Yeah, but
like,
I mean, so real food and all that stuff. Like, we'll call her the Ice Princess, if you know what I'm talking about. The Ice Princess, the Russian. You know, she would talk about like
like the Russian. Okay,
like the Russian.
Yeah,
the Russian.
Yeah.
Back in the day, she would talk about like the blueberries and the fruit, like they don't last long. Like real fruit doesn't really last long. And back in the day, where I grew up, we had like a cherry tree and all that stuff. So like the real fruit doesn't last long compared to it's all the
double-edged sword because in one hand you want like nowadays people want organic, natural, non-GMO, non-mass produced, quality, grass-fed, grain finished, like they want all that in their food, but then you got to think about like there's a reason why the government went to that after the Great Depression and after, World War II, because they had a nation to feed. They had a nation to rebuild. So, they went to scientists and said, find a way to mass produce food on a large scale so that we can feed these people and we can rebuild our nation and we can, have sustainability. So GMO really isn't that bad in the grand scheme of things, but now I would look at it as like, at least you have an option. Like if I got to make the kids, if I want to be lazy and I want to make the kids Sunday pasta with jarred sauce, because when it sits in the pot all day long, it's what?
He's inconvenient.
No.
I'm sorry.
It's gravy.
Okay.
When it sits in the pot all day long on a Sunday, it's fucking gravy.
Okay.
All right. You know what I'm saying to you?
I got
you hear what I'm saying? All right.
I hear what you're saying.
But if I want to be lazy and I just want to make them a quick bowl of, pasta on a Sunday with jarred sauce, like, I'm going to get the 99-cent, Wegmans brand pasta, which is not ancient grain, which is not bronze rolled, which has got, plenty of, gluten in it. And, the $1.99, Wegmans sauce. And, that's going to sustain them because, you got to think about it. Like not everybody has the budget, for to get, the good stuff to get, then again, what if I want to make it from scratch? What if I want to get my tomatoes, my Jersey tomatoes, my organic Jersey tomatoes from the farm in Vineland, and I want to get the basil, that's grown, nearby in Hamilton or whatever, and I want to get, the pressed olive oil, straight from like, one of the best places in Italy, and recently I made my own pasta twice, which is
wow,
awesome endeavor. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun, and the result is great. But that also entails you having to buy, flour. Now, what kind of flour do you want to get? Do you want to get the bleached flour, or do you want to get the organic stuff? And then eggs, like you want farm fresh, free range chicken eggs, which I can tell you, up until recently, Amber and I, we had our own chickens, and fresh chicken eggs are 10 times better than what you
absolutely
buy at the store. And so then that cost adds up. So if you have the ability to do that, you need to take advantage of it, but not everybody does. And so what are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to only offer the expensive food to the nation so that the poor people die? No, that's why people grew up on blocks of processed cheese and, powdered milk and things like that. Powdered milk, like think about it. Like they took liquid milk out of a cow and found a way to process it and turn it into a powder so that you could then later on
add water
when you wanted to add water to it and turn it into a liquid again.
Milk.
Like that's as a natural can be, but that's how millions of citizens of this country survived. So, it's like I said, it's a double-edged sword. Like, you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You can't just say, hey, listen, if you can't afford natural foods, then Stugats, shame on you. Good luck.
Interesting, man. So you said Italy and Ireland.
Yeah. So I'd flip the coin. Wow. How did I get to that? All you did was ask me if I wanted to visit one country, what would it be? And then I went on a whole GMO rant. Like, how do I even do that?
That's how it goes, man. We talked about that. We talked about food. And that's where it went, man. That's going down the rabbit hole and all that stuff.
Well, as long as you're okay with it.
Here, maybe one more question here.
What, and then we're done?
Like, no, man, we ain't done yet.
We need to start. I'm not done yet.
This is like hour and 11 minutes.
Plenty of time. We got plenty of time.
Gotcha. Do you need a pee-pee break?
No, I may need a refill whiskey break, but I don't need a pee-pee break yet.
Okay. I gotcha. Okay. Let's do a little break here, man. Let's do a little break.
Like an actual break?
Yeah, actual break.
Okay.
You want to keep going? We're going to keep going, man.
That's up to you, dude. You're in charge.
Need a little break.
Okay.
All right, hold on.
All right.
We'll be back. Welcome back for round 2 with Dom Torino here. How are those Fast and Furious movies, man? Huh?
I think I saw the first one back.
Yeah, I think I saw like the first one.
16 or 17, and then
that was it.
Yeah. It had to be because my old music teacher in high school compared me to Vin Diesel. He goes, back then I shaved my head and whatever. I guess because of sports.
The name.
And The Sopranos was out then, so I was probably walking around like, oh, hey, how you doing over here? Yeah. He was like,
I'm still working on doing a Sopranos episode with your cousin over there.
Yeah. Yeah, what? We'll do that one day. We'll come back.
One day.
With Biagio. Biagio.
It will.
Will from the Ville.
Anyway, all right.
Love him.
Let's see.
Shout out to Will.
Yeah, there we go. Would you rather win $1 million or earn $1 million?
Earn. Yeah. I mean, I'd rather have it either way, but I'd rather earn it. It would feel a lot better.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because you win it, like, why is that special? Like, anybody could do that. You're just another number. Like,
yeah, true.
That could have been anybody. But if I earned it, I actually like put work and effort into it, and it would feel better to spend it as well.
Yeah. Would you be real cautious spending it if you earned it compared to winning it and you just throw it?
These days, yes, because I impulsively spend. Like, I'm bad with that. Like, if I fall into a decent amount of money, like I call it found money, like I just go and get something stupid that either
you're enjoying life is what it's called, man. It's called enjoying life.
Yeah, and at the same time, while your debts aren't being paid and your car payment lapses
with aliens around. Who needs to pay?
There was one time I won $500 on a scratch off. This was a long time ago. Yeah. I can't even tell you what I spent it on. I don't remember. Like, I don't know. I guess maybe 500, depending on how you look at it. Like, if you get paid $500 a paycheck, that's not a lot of money. If you just do a scratch off ticket, with a quarter, and you win 500, like, okay, yeah, wow, that's $500. That's a lot of money. Like, I don't even know what I spent it on. Like, that's ridiculous because that's what I do with found money. So these days, the little bit that I've matured in my age, I would cautiously, spend that $1 million. I would make sure that it went to some fun stuff that I wanted, But I would also make sure that it went to stuff that needed.
Yeah.
It would need to go to as well. But I'd rather earn it.
Interesting.
So our question from
Your question.
our third ghost guest,
Okay.
Amber
Oh,
Shea.
we got a question here from our guest. Our guest over there. You can't see the lovely lady over there.
PJs, right? What some people wear to bed.
Pajamas.
Right?
Pajamas.
Okay, so what's another short word for them?
Pajamas.
Like you got PJs, you got pajamas, or go put your
Third one.
blank on. Like jammies, right? Do you not say jammies?
Okay, jammies.
Okay, jammies. So you got PJs, jammies, pajamas. Why don't we say pajamas?
Pajamas?
Or pajamas? Like,
Pajamas? I don't know, man.
why is it pajamas, but it's jammies?
I don't know.
Why is it not jammies?
I think wherever you grow up, I think back in the day,
No,
man,
because
PJs
it's the same way with her. Like,
pajamas. Yeah,
it's
put your
the same
pajamas
thing.
on.
yeah.
We used
She
to-
says she didn't grow
Pajamas.
up where we grew up. She says jammies. But
Okay.
when she says the full word, she says pajamas. So why don't we say
Pajamas. Oh,
pajamas? Yeah.
pajamas. Pajamas.
Pajamas.
Pajamas. Pajamas.
But why don't we say jammies?
That just sounds fucking weird.
Yeah.
Pajamas or jammies. Pajamas. I don't know.
She gets me all the time on water. Like when I speak fast.
Oh, when you say water?
When I say it fast. Like normally I'm like, hey, may I have a glass of water, please? But if I'm talking fast, like, hey, go over there and fill that pot full of water. She's like, well, what's water?
Oh, I want to hear her say washing machine.
No. Like, hopefully the microphone can pick up. Unmute yourself.
Oh, it could pick up there, but
Yeah.
it won't pick up here. She's not on here.
Say oil.
Oil.
Say foil.
Fool. Calling you a damn fool.
What do you do with water before you make pasta? What do you do with it?
Boil. Oh my
All right,
gosh.
thanks, babe. I love you.
There's
I love
definitely
you
a
and I
southern
love your
woman.
accent. Don't ever change.
Definitely a southern woman there.
Yeah. Anyway, so
Should
that
probably-
was the
should probably
that was the
kick your
third
ass
party
and
question.
mine.
Why don't we say
Pajamas.
pajamas, jammies? Why do
We got ridiculous.
English language is
We
also
got ridiculous now.
the English language has
All
been
right.
proven to be the hardest language to learn.
The
So
English
anyway,
language.
what's your next question? Now that I said
English.
back to the Chillin' with Carl podcast. This has been the Dominic Ask the Question podcast.
No, man. I enjoy when people ask me questions, man. It gets me to think.
Yeah, it's a
it
good
gives
back
me a
and forth.
break.
Right.
It gives me a break. But pajamas, I don't know, man.
Jammies, pajamas, water, oil,
Oil. Oil.
oil,
Bull. She's gonna hate us. All right. What's on the top of your bucket list, and how will you make it happen? Come on, bucket list, baby. Bucket list.
survive. That's number
Well,
one.
you're doing that right now, man. You're surviving. You look like you just got off the show Survivor there. My man, I got to give a shout out to my man. He lost a lot of weight. He lost a lot of stress in his life by crossing the finish line at work. So go with that as well. We'll do that.
Yeah, it is nice to be away from
all that stuff.
Alpha Charlie, Juliet, Foxtrot. But yeah, the weight loss was the side effect of something else. But
You know what?
yeah,
we
it's
gotta
nice
see-
though.
yeah.
It's nice to fit. I like wear medium shirts now. Like these jeans
man.
are 34, 32s, and I can slip them on without unbuttoning or unzipping them. Like at my max, I was like
Okay.
48s.
What kind of jeans you got on now, man? Look.
They're retro Wranglers that I got in Texas. Like they have like the W on the back pockets.
Why are you not supporting Origin?
Because I can afford it. Well, like $100 a pair.
Bro.
I do have a pair of Origin, but
I
I
got-
don't fit in them anymore. They swim on me,
2 pairs.
and I'm going to give them to my brother.
2 pairs, man.
Yeah. Well, when I
Love 'em.
when I earn
Love
my $1 million and I go to spend it, then I will most
Earn
definitely.
your $1 million?
Yeah. But these are retro Wranglers from Academy Sports. Shout out to Academy. Wish we had them up here.
Interesting.
Mm.
Hmm.
Mm.
questions picked up here. Hold on. Let me get into this real quick. Let's see. Let's see. What is your favorite holiday movie?
Oh,
Come on, man.
It's a Wonderful Life. I watch it every single year. I try to watch it on Christmas Eve every year. I can recite that movie almost verbatim from start to finish.
I just watched that recently.
Really?
Rewatched it, I would say. I watched it
this past Christmas or recently, like Christmas in July recently?
I can't remember where it was at, man. I can't remember.
It
was on. No, I was here. I was definitely here. I remember watching it here. Maybe this past Christmas. I can't remember which.
Yeah, well, normally like
streaming
NBC
app it was on,
or CBS or whatever. They play it every Christmas. But I have it on demand. I have it on DVD. Probably had it on VHS back in the day. But that is my all-time favorite. Like Christmas is probably my favorite holiday, just because of memories like growing up. Okay. With my family all being together, same stuff everybody does, but
I gotcha.
But then as I got older, like St. Patrick's Day started to really compete for my favorite holiday.
You alcoholic, you.
No, see, I don't go crazy plastic patty with St. Patrick's Day. I don't put on the, do the green beer
kilt,
and
put on the kilt with no underwear necklace.
On. Actually, Amber this past St. Patrick's Day surprised me. She woke me up and she said, "Come on, get dressed. We're going to San Antonio," which for Yankees is known in San Antonio, Texas. And we drove to San Antonio.
Who are they playing? Astros?
No, dude, like the city.
Oh, I thought you said Yankees.
Yes,
Yankees baseball game.
You would know the city as San Antonio.
Okay.
In Texas, we pronounce it San Antonio.
Okay.
And so went down to the Riverwalk, which was an awesome place. It's a bunch of shops and bars and restaurants along the river, and they dyed the river green, and they had floats going down there, and with people like bagpipers and Irish dancers and stuff. And I wore my kilt, and she wore a kilt, and we pretended to be from Ireland, like there's some people, because I could really fake an Irish accent if I really want to. So I told them that I was from County Cork, and these people believed me because they didn't know who I was, and they don't, I'll never see these folks again. So I just faked it till I made it and spoke to these people for a little bit while I was getting a Guinness. And it was a great time. Like we had a lot of fun. So yes, I will put my kilt on. I have a couple of kilts, but they kind of don't fit anymore. I kind of like wrap around twice, but tighten the belt. But I like doing it traditionally. Like I like having, like the Irish almost celebrated how we celebrate
potatoes.
Wow, that's racist.
What?
No,
potatoes,
how we
man.
celebrate Thanksgiving.
Oh,
Thanksgiving.
no, haggis is
like,
Scottish,
you
right?
have family over,
I gotcha.
And you make food, and you just, have what they call
what's a traditional Irish meal?
I like doing shepherd's pie. I make shepherd's pie.
Oh, what's in shepherd's pie?
It's ground lamb, mixture of ground lamb, ground beef, or you could just do straight up ground lamb. Vegetables, peas, carrots.
Is there potatoes in it?
There's obviously potatoes.
Oh, okay. All right.
But that's the same as saying that another culture only survives on fried chicken. You shouldn't say that. That's racist.
I didn't say that. You said that. I mean, I'm Italian, so all I eat is pasta.
No, that's also racist.
And I'm also Polish, so I eat pierogies and kielbasi.
You're dumb.
That's all I eat, man.
And you guys made the inflatable dartboard.
Sure.
The submarine with the screen door.
Oh, man, I'm totally getting banned now.
No, my grandmother on my mom's side, her mother was actually Polish, raised by Depression-era Russians. So she was hard on me. Like the majority of the discipline I have in my life came from that woman. Like she loved us deeply, but she was a big disciplinarian because growing up, my mom being a single mother, she worked 4 to 12 a lot. So my grandmother would pick us up from school, take us to her house 20 minutes away in Cherry Hill. She would, have us do homework. We would play. She would feed us dinner. She would bathe us and then drive us 20 minutes back to Haddon Township and then stay with us, put us to bed until my mom came home.
Nice.
But she was a strict disciplinarian because, like I said, she was a Polish girl raised by her Depression era Russian grandparents, and like
hard times.
You would
man.
sit when we learned to tie our shoes. Like you sat, like because I grew up. Obviously, I have a younger brother, and my cousin of mine who was very close to me, was almost like a sister. I remember sitting and being forced to learn how to. Like she would purposely put us so that I could watch them play because they're younger than me. And I had to learn to tie my shoes. And I couldn't get up and go play with them outside and have fun until I learned to successfully tie my shoes. So it was like a motivating factor. It wasn't just like, hey, we'll sit here and do this. Like, of course she showed me. It wasn't just like, put your shoe on and figure it out. Like she taught me and then was like, okay, I've now shown you. Mm-hmm. So now it's your responsibility to learn it on your own and do it. And you will sit here and watch your brother and cousin play. And you want to go play too? Good. Tie your shoe. And once you've tied it successfully, then you can go do it. And like, I couldn't use the lawnmower at first. Like she made me, because I was the oldest, cut her lawn with scissors. And I had to earn the right to use the lawnmower. I swear to God.
Man, you are so deprived.
No, but
I understand.
Like at the time, I was like,
this explains so much trauma that you've had, bro.
No, that's not even close.
I know that's not even close. We
haven't even scratched the surface.
Not even touched it, but I could tell so much.
Yeah. Or, but it was like you had to earn the right. You had to work your way up, kind of like how it is in our line of work. We're the military. Like, you don't just step in. To all you listeners out there who may be on the job or maybe new on the job or thinking about being on the job, you don't step in and immediately get day shifted with weekends off and all your holidays approved. You got to earn it. You got to do the grunt work.
Nope.
You got to earn your way up.
Don't work that way. People.
But anyway, so I had to earn my right to use the lawnmower. Like
I got you.
Cut the lawn with scissors, edge the lawn with scissors, use a flathead screwdriver to pull the weeds. You didn't get to use the weed whacker. What else? Oh, like elbows on the table while you're eating. She used to stab us with a knife if we put our elbows on the table. She would say, go ahead, don't eat your vegetables. That's fine. I got a pot on the stove, keeping them warm. She would just replace your cold vegetables off your plate with hot ones, and you would just, which probably led to a lot of my weight gain because it was a lot of that old school, finish your plate, like clear your plate stuff. But yeah, but she loved us, and that was just her way of giving us discipline and teaching us, reading too was a big thing. Like, times tables, like just sitting there repetitive over and over and over and over and over.
Gotcha.
A lot of people don't get that, now. It's probably people will listen to this being like, oh my God, that's child abuse.
Yeah,
like,
people don't care.
At the time, I thought she hated me, but as I got older, I realized what it was and what she was doing. You know what I mean? Like, and she would have like intellectual conversations with me. Like it wasn't until I, got older that I realized like she would ask me things, and I'd be like, I would think at the time like, why doesn't she know this? Like she's older than me, she should know this. And I would answer her
what you thought about it.
Yeah, like she was playing dumb to get me to, elaborate on it and talk about it.
Yeah.
And she was putting on a front in order to encourage me, to make me feel intellectual, to make me feel smart, like, oh, I'm teaching an adult something, you know what I mean, like stuff like that. And it wasn't until obviously I got older I realized it, but so
yeah, man, interesting.
Get on that topic. I keep going with these rants. I don't even know how we get there. But
Random questions. Okay.
Yeah.
Here comes a real random question. Die Hard. Is it a Christmas movie or not?
Yes.
Okay.
And
hold
on. What?
She sign language? Is she giving you some sign language?
You said you don't know how you get going on these rants and rabbit holes, and I said, "Ooh, pick me! I know how."
She's saying
she's insinuating my Irish culture is taking over on my rants. Oh, yeah, Die Hard is a Christmas movie, and there's recently they said another one too. Rambo, First Blood.
Yeah, Rambo, First Blood was Christmas movie.
That's a Christmas movie too.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely, man. Let's see here. Man. Starting to run out of stuff. starting to run out of stuff, man.
Well, we can't. So it's impossible. So
I mean,
I was telling you earlier before the podcast, as you're flipping through, that I started to get into Stoic philosophy.
Oh yeah.
Ryan Holiday was recently
So
on Jocko's
you're
podcast.
retired now. You think you're a philosopher. You know all this fucking bullshit.
Yeah, I
of
know
the
everything
whole
now,
wide
dude.
world,
Yeah.
man. Here we go.
Yeah,
Here we go, man. Lay us down some.
I'm
some
retired
drunk
and I know
Irish.
everything.
Lay us down some drunk Irish knowledge.
Well, first of all, I'm not drunk. I'm not even close.
We know.
I wish I was. Put up with your
drinking
yes,
all
better. But
like,
you can't get drunk, Carl, if you're never sober. So as long as you just stay consistently buzzed, then there's no way you can get drunk. So, yeah, that's you gotta figure that out, buddy. That's the life of a retired guy. Anyway, just kidding. Just kidding. Just
okay,
a joke.
retired guy.
This is humor.
Wake up and you can drink.
So yeah, Stoic philosophy. So I bought Meditations by Marcus Aurelius because it's apparently one of like the good
Is that a
step
book?
off points. Yes, it's a book, and he wrote it like he didn't. Apparently, according to this guy Ryan Holiday, who's big on Stoic philosophy, he's got much of social medias out there involving that.
Yeah, that's a lot of those things I do follow, and I kind of share them because I think
Yeah.
a lot of these things need to be,
Well, they're
I mean-
timeless. I mean, you got to think about it. These were written thousands of years ago, and they still apply today. Like same with Musashi. Miyamoto Musashi,
Mhm.
like the most deadliest samurai warrior in Japanese history.
It's right there.
Is that who that is? Or they're
Yeah.
supposed to be? Or?
Well, it's whoever I want, pretty much.
That's
And
true.
That's,
Yeah.
that's what skulls are, and
Mhm.
that's got Marcus Aurelius there,
That should be,
Red Cloud or Crazy Horse,
yeah. Sitting Bull.
Musashi. And I got a few other things coming.
Yeah,
too.
I bought the Book of Five Rings as well with Musashi because I tried to read, what was the other one, the really big, thick one? I got about a quarter of the way through it, and I just got distracted with the rest of life. Musashi's other book.
Art of War.
No, Art of War, that's the other cat whose name escapes me.
Sun Tzu.
Sun Tzu, thank you. I have that as well. But so the Stoic philosophies I think are important. A lot of them being like, you can't control the future. One of the great ones is like we live in the fear of the what if, not the present. Like you're afraid of the what if.
That's everyone.
Yeah, and
That goes with the risk versus reward
mhm.
type deal.
Or memento mori.
Mhm.
Like live for the present because everybody dies. Everyone's going to die. Live for the
And that's the
present.
thing. Like if a lot more people thought that way, would enjoy life a little bit more, or it would cause people to be in, fear.
Yeah. Well, the problem
Fear
is
fear's
like
the biggest thing.
I recently found, thanks to TikTok.
TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok's got a lot of, even though it's like
We got another one of those.
Chinese owned, and
TikTokers.
they're completely influencing our children for the lack of a better term. Not my kids. My kids don't.
Oh, you don't have TikTok at your house, but you watch TikTok.
Yeah, I'm allowed to do it. They can't. Yeah, duh. It's called hypocrisy. Do as I say, not as I do. But
just,
like,
your kids are gonna watch this, right?
well, the junior, the 16-year-old, he might watch it, but Molly.
I'll
she
put an
won't have
age
access to
restriction
it.
on it. Should I do that? I mean, we didn't really.
Yeah, 18 and up. I have said. I think
18
I
and
said
up.
the MF word. Yeah.
Dropped a couple F bombs.
But so you identify with a lot of stuff, like there's a lot of self-help stuff out there. You got to water it down. Like it's probably 50-50. 50% of the people, like anybody can go on there and say, I'm a licensed, wackadoo. And I could tell you what's wrong with you. Well, there's no way to verify whether they are or not. But regardless, if somebody makes a good point and you can relate to it,
Yeah,
you're like, wow,
I think so.
I relate to that, or I can identify as that, or I have found myself doing that negative action or negative thought process in my life. And so it's good to fall back on these tried and true and time tested ideas, such as Stoic philosophy or the Book of Five Rings with Miyamoto Musashi, where things of like, don't be afraid of what you can't control. You live in the fear of,
Oh.
your imagination, live for the present. One thing is Jocko refers to a lot when he tells that story about he had that Vietnam prisoner of war on, where he talked about how, the guy in the bunk above him would pick his feet. And, they all made a pact like, we're all suffering in this together.
Yeah.
So if the guy above me is picking the dead skin off his feet that the rats eat every single night, and I choose to allow that to bother me, so that's one way to live a healthier life amongst society, like road rage, or the old lady pushing the shopping cart slow, at the food store.
You know what bothers me? When people stand in front of a doorway and just start having a conversation. That bothers me.
Right.
But at the same time too, I do say, excuse me.
Yeah.
I'd like, can I get by, please?
So I fly a lot because I fly back home to Texas as often as I can. And when we land, and everybody immediately stands up and crowds the aisles.
No,
like
I wait until it's my turn. Well, a lot of people do stand up because they want to.
Right, they want like first dibs, but the door's not even open.
Well, sometimes I stand up just to get the blood flowing back in my legs because I've been sitting there for.
Sit the fuck down until it's time for you to move. No, don't fucking move. Sit down. Sit down until it's time for you to move.
I want to get the blood flowing in my feet. But I mean, I stand up and I sit back down.
So what I do now is, like, as long as I don't have an immediate connecting flight where I will communicate that to, like, my row. Yeah, exactly. Because I've had to run.
Gotta run.
Like, I have run the entirety of, like, the Dallas-Fort Worth airport. It's not fun. and in, like, uncomfortable shoes as well. But unless I had, like, and when I will communicate that to people, like, hey, listen, I got a connecting flight in 20 minutes, like, as soon as we land, can I get up and jump you guys in the aisle?
And they would say, they'd be like, you'll get there when you get there.
Yeah, most of the time.
Let time fly.
So what I do now, because I make sure that I don't have that rush as long as my flights aren't delayed, which is out of my control.
There you go.
I just sit and make sure I'm like the last person off the plane. Like, I just sit. Like, I don't even move. I don't even take my AirPods out or nothing. I'll just sit back and just, whatever. Like, let everybody do their thing. I'm like one of the last people off the plane. Like, they're cleaning the seats, and I'm just, because I'm like,
if you're gonna sit back,
I'm sorry.
like that,
so
either speak louder or bring. No, you just
what's frustrating is I can hear myself, but I forget that everybody else can't hear me. And so my philosophy on that is, I can make one of two choices. I can get angry that everybody else is standing up and flooding the aisles and acting like an idiot, and slowing down the deplaning process, or I can just choose to live in my own existence in my own life and not let their decisions affect me.
Bother you. Yeah.
And just be like, I'll get off when I get off. Mm-hmm. So
just like
that's just one of those things.
That's like being behind a slow person on a one-way lane. I kind of just let it go, man. I used to back in the day, but then I'm like, if this person's here for a reason, they're slowing me down, because if I were to be going as fast as I was going, I'd probably be in an accident.
Maybe there's something else ahead that
you see what I'm saying?
You're avoiding, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like predestination. So that's a question I have for you. Do we have free will to make our own choices, or is everything in our life predestined, no matter what?
That's hard. Like, I'm on the fence with that, because being a obnoxious and abhorrent, I've actually kind of gotten better with it. You are definitely obnoxious. But I'm obnoxious and abhorrent.
Angry. I was going to say asshole.
But I haven't finished yet. You don't even know what I'm going to say.
Okay.
Being a scathing, obnoxious, and abhorrent atheist, like, it is difficult for me to sign off on free will. But at the same time, there's a couple things, like, I do believe that we have control of, and there's other things that we don't. And there's some things in fate that I believe in, as well. Like, like, for instance, meeting Amber. Like, if I didn't leave Haddon Township and move down to Atlantic City, and then play in a band, and then, decide to move to Hamilton, and then from there decide to work at the jail, when I was 18. And then from there, move up in the ranks. Then I would have gotten picked to go to Huntsville, Texas for a leadership course. And then I wouldn't have met, my person.
Oh, yeah.
So that's like, people look at that and they're like, well, that's fate. Like all those things were supposed to happen. Right. Yeah. There's a bunch of different decisions I could have made, like if I wasn't fed up with my small town when I graduated high school, and decided to move down to the big city of Atlantic City. And, if I had just stayed, in my town, all those other things wouldn't have happened. But then at the same time, I'm conflicted. I'm on the fence because I'm like, no, I am in control of my actions. I'm in control of my decisions. I'm in control of what it is that I decide to do. It's things aren't predestined for me. So it's
true.
It's I guess to me, it's kind of day to day. There are some days that are going to be decided for me, and there's some days that aren't.
Yeah, but you could always decide how you react to things.
Exactly. Yes. Through the things that go on throughout your day, you have the choice on how you're going to react.
Yeah, like that 100%. Person that cut you off, that is 5 to 10 seconds interaction. You're going to let that ruin your day.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Things like that. And people tend to dwell on it longer than what it actually is.
And that's unhealthy practices. You have to actually make like it's been a while since I trained jiu-jitsu because I've been, since I've been back from Texas. But I found that in the times that I did consistently train jiu-jitsu, a lot of the stress, everyday anxieties or nuisances of life were nothing, because number one, I was too physically and mentally exhausted to care about it because of training jiu-jitsu. And number two, I was like, that's fine. Like, I'm just going to go play pretend murder with my friends later. And whatever thing that just bothered me, I'm going to take it out on somebody when I put them in a rear naked choke or an arm bar, and deal with it that way.
That was one of my favorite quotes from one of my favorite movies, Fight Club. Like, after fighting and stuff, all the real world nonsense is turned down, like the noise and all that stuff.
Precisely. Yeah.
Most likely, that's another thing too. Is like, the closer you are to death, the more you feel alive. In a sense, you know. So I've went skydiving and all that stuff, and it was like euphoric.
When
almost.
Recently?
No. I'm going to go again soon.
That's one thing I wish
will be going again soon.
I had done before I had kids, because I would feel guilty. Well, I wouldn't feel anything. I'd be dead. But I feel guilty taking the risk.
That's the thing. Like, what? Well, yes, it's very selfish.
I feel guilty taking that risk, that unnecessary risk. I'm deathly afraid of heights. Like, I don't do freaking ladders.
We need to go rock climbing in. I just actually went indoor rock climbing.
You need to shut the fuck up. Like, it ain't happening. Like, I'm not fucking doing it. Like, I don't do heights. I don't get on roofs. I don't put up Christmas lights.
Go as far as you want.
Yeah. I don't get on the roof to watch tornadoes. No, like I'm a gorilla, dude. Like, although I'm skinnier
gorillas
now,
climb.
I used
gorillas
to be close.
Climb.
No, gorillas don't. No, I used to be close to 300 pounds. Gorillas are close to the earth. They stay close down on all fours. It's the monkeys and the apes that go up in the trees and climb. All right, I'm still a gorilla at heart, even though I'm not. I don't have the weight to back it up
trees,
anymore.
Man.
Gorillas don't go up in trees, dude. Do we need to YouTube this? Yeah, I'm gonna send you like a shit ton of videos tonight and prove you wrong. But anyway, I don't do heights. Like, and that's one of the ingrained fears that human beings have left over from like our
so when you sit in the airplane,
but it's like that's where you gotta let go, because like at a certain point you get to a certain height. Like, taking off and landing is the
hardest thing for me, man. The taking off and the landing part,
and it's also the statistically best chance for an accident to happen.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
But once you're up in the air, like, and I've also figured out that the closer you are to the cockpit, the less you feel turbulence. So do yourself a favor and pay that extra $37, $26 for the seat closer to the cockpit. Yeah, don't sit in the back. Like, you're going to feel all the turbulence and you're going to feel like you're going to die. I've learned that the hard way. But once you're up in the air, like there's nothing you can do. Like, if something happens, like whatever, like you're not surviving it, oh, your sea baby uses a flotation device. Yeah. For your carcass. But so you're beat. But as far as like the heights that I can control, like, no, like I'm not beat. And, so, what was my point? Oh, so the skydiving. That is one thing where I'm like, listen, we're going to get to a height and I'm going to jump out and either this thing's going to work or it's not. It's out of my control.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's where it was when I was like falling
to the earth. Fact that the fact that there's a 50% chance it doesn't work and I die and then I take myself away from my children. Like that's one of those things I wish I had done before I had kids. Like as well as like a bunch of traveling.
Gotcha.
Whatever else. But but you being in your opportunity, your position in life, like, actually, check all those boxes, dude.
Oh man, absolutely.
Absolutely. That's but what was you said you were going to think something about death. Like, I wouldn't feel guilty because I was dead. And you're going to be like, oh, that's another thing. I cut you off. Though.
Man, what was I going to say?
The fact that when you die, you die. That's
death.
it.
So
it's a light switch. You don't even know that you're dead.
What is after death? What is after this life?
Okay, let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
What was before you were born? What was life like before you were born?
I don't know.
Exactly.
So you don't know. Okay.
No,
I got you. What do you perceive to be? What do you perceive to be?
The light switch gets turned off and that's it.
Okay. That's it.
There's nothing.
No more Dominic.
No.
No more Dominic.
No,
this is it.
Everybody else
so with
celebrating my death.
So with that thought and process, with that thought, so this is it. This is it. Why aren't you living your best life?
You know what?
Why are you paying taxes?
Yeah, taxation is theft, number one.
That's what I'm saying. So why are you doing all these things?
Because I don't want to go to prison. Because then I'll get taken away from
you're institutionalized?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
institutionalized.
You get to a certain point in your life where you either accept that you're going to live by the constraints that are put upon you in the civilized world and the institutionalized world, where you want to be able to live with warmth and clean water, eat, on a consistent basis and support, other lives, AKA have children and reproduce.
I gotcha.
There are certain people in the world that are like, I'm just going to live every day however I want and whatever happens. And, it's a lot of those people are what kept me employed for 22 years and what currently keep you employed. If it wasn't for those people, you might not have a job. So yeah,
figure something else out.
You just got to figure out, like, okay, I'm just going to accept the way that the standards have been put on in front of me. Or, some people have the ability, they can be like, I'm going to go to another place where I have more independent freedoms, and live that way. But as far as like living life to the fullest, like, that's all well and good. That's a great, sign to put on the wall, like live, laugh, love. But a lot of that has to do with like your financial status. Like, I think, certain people who make more money are able to live life more to the fullest than other people who aren't. Like somebody who's on, with an EBT card can't really live life to the fullest. They're living life, however, they're
don't worry,
every 2 weeks dictates.
Yeah. Slurp that coffee, man. I'm telling you, Cindy.
For the record, that was Carl, not me.
Well, they're not going to know if they listen to it on Spotify.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. So when you die, nothing happens. You just die.
When you die, that's it. Nothing happens. You going to write a book or something? You going to leave a legacy? Where's your kids? That's it. What do you think?
I've thought about writing so I recently saw Jocko in Philly, and he did Chicago, Detroit, Boston, and Philly. And it was like kind of like an extended solo podcast in a way.
Yeah.
And he opened it with a poem that he wrote about the war. And then he ended up quoting a long quote from Seth Stone. And his poem, one thing he said resonated with me. He said, something in the effect of, I wrote it down, I'm going to misquote it. What has the war done to me, or what did the war do to me? And like I wrote that down. I took notes while I was there, and I was like, yeah, like I could expound on that. Like, what did the job do to me? You know, like a lot of guys write books about the job and their experiences, and they tell stories, and they change the names to protect the innocent, or you know, stuff like that. And you know, and I've run across people like there's a former warden at the facility. I went with him to a warden's conference once, or luncheon or whatever it was, and he was telling me stories from back when he worked in Maryland, and you know the stuff that he did, like, you know, and I'm like, I'm just riding with this guy like up North Jersey, and like he's telling me these stories, and my mouth's on the floor. I'm like, sir, you gotta like write a book. He goes, I wrote a book for my kids, you know, just so they have something. I'm like, no, like you need to write a book to like publish it. Or Amber's father, he was Texas Department of Public Safety, you know, the DPS trooper, and he was undercover narcotics. And some of the stories he's told me, and I'm like, we need to write this down, you know, like we need to get this on audio. We need to get it on paper. Absolutely. And I don't have anywhere close to like those stories like that, but might my kids find it interesting? Maybe, you know, because I've sheltered them a lot. I've kept a lot of that, you know, what we do and what I've done, you know, from them. I'm not trying to say I've done anything special or I've done anything crazy or I've experienced anything, whatever, but maybe they'll find it interesting. But I think it would be interesting I don't think we support each other, you know, enough. You know, there's a big movement and a push for military and veterans to open up to one another. You know, a lot of the points that, you know, Jocko makes is that, you know, after World War II, these guys would get on ships
and they would
spend weeks at a time.
Well, I was decompressing and talking and building
amongst each other, talking amongst each other, telling the stories. And, you know, and then around Vietnam, it was just, you know, boom, you're back on a plane and you're back home like 1 or 2 days later with zero support from the public and not being able to speak to your.
Well, look what happened to Vietnam.
Yeah. Right. Not being able to speak to your fellow comrades and, you know, and countrymen and fellow soldiers and whatever, Marines, and being able to decompress. And so there's a big push for that now, is, you know, for these veterans to talk to one another. And, you know, I think that there needs to be an equal presence amongst first responders as well, you know, and that includes law enforcement, firefighters, EMS, and dispatch too. Like, you know, people don't give enough credit to dispatchers. Like, can you imagine?
Absolutely. All the 911 calls that they receive.
All you can do is just sit there on the phone and try to make somebody feel better and reassure them or assist them with just your words.
Oh yeah.
While you listen.
That's tough,
like,
man.
there was years ago,
much stress they're going through.
There was a leaked 911 video on YouTube from someone in one of the towers of 9/11, and it was up until the point that the tower collapsed, and the video, or the audio, was just audio, ended with them screaming, you know, to the 911 operator until the phone cut off for obvious reasons. And I remember I'm like, God, I wish I never listened to that. Like, that left a scar on my brain. Like, it was difficult to listen to. And you got to think about, like, dispatchers deal with that all the time, you know? So, but my point is like, we need to do that as well. So if I wrote poetry or short stories or even long stories with some kind of lesson or positive message, or, you know, like, even if it's a lesson learned for myself, like I messed up a ton in my 22 years. Like, there's a lot I did wrong.
I'm still messing up now.
I'm still messing up now. Yeah. And there's things that I did wrong. There's things I could have done better. Like, if I
absolutely, man,
put some of that down, you know, and you know, I used to tell this to KJ when he would work with the kids. I'm like, if you could just make an impact on one kid, that's all that matters.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you could just keep one person from falling into the bottle or eating a bullet or giving up or becoming self-destructive or, you know, quitting or not taking that promotion or whatever the hell, you know, like that makes a difference.
Yeah. And that's kind of like what I'm doing here with this podcast. So this is for us, for everyone
Right.
To come here, sit down, have a
Yeah,
drink.
like I'm sure there's a lot of
have a
people
drink
like
if you want to drink, just talk, relax, enjoy yourself, hang out, get stuff out.
one of my biggest problems was I allowed my emotions to dictate a lot of how I reacted to things and
Yeah.
a lot of my decisions.
But we're emotional creatures.
Right. But I've encountered people on the job that were able to regulate that and were able to control that. And, I would always mask it with like, well, I'm passionate. Like, no, you just have no self-control. Like you don't know how to regulate your emotions. And when something is presented to you that you don't agree with, or you find, to be attacking in nature, you didn't react to that properly, and as much as I tried to absorb Jocko's teachings and use extreme ownership and detach, that's the biggest one. Detach emotionally. It's difficult. It's an everyday practice. And if you don't do it, then, if you don't practice that every single day, if you don't practice that kind of mindset every day, you're going to fail at it. So I know there's people that are going to listen to this, be like, oh, he's expounding on all this, spiritual and stoic stuff and detachment and extreme ownership. But I remember him yelling at me, or I remember him saying this, or I remember him reacting that way. Like, yeah, I remember that too. And I that was wrong. And I messed up a lot.
Yeah, man.
And I reacted the wrong way a lot of times. And I screamed and yelled when I shouldn't have. And I said the wrong things when I shouldn't have. And I, probably owe a ton of people an apologies. But there's a lot of things I can't take back. But what I can do is I can look back on it, admit my mistakes, admit my failures, learn from them,
and grow
grow from them, right? And potentially find a way to communicate that so that somebody else doesn't make my same mistake,
It's true, man. It's true. No, that's good, man. And that's being self-aware, basically being self-aware of your actions and your emotions in that time is a key thing. Because that's where the growth, that's where the growth starts.
Yes.
Being aware of it, being cognizant. Yeah, cognizant. I can't.
Cognizant.
My brain is failing here.
Cognizant.
Yes, my brain is failing here. I did have a excruciating workout before this.
You did or did not?
I did.
Oh,
did.
Good for you.
Crushed it. My trainer is killing me.
My man. So. Yeah, I see some of the stuff you do on there, the IG.
Like, yeah, he has this one, man. He has this video.
Oh, you had your chest on the seat of the bike, and then you were
I was doing
with your arms. God.
Yeah, man.
Like that looked to me.
I had to do 20 calories. 20 calories.
That looked difficult, but stupid at the same time. And no disrespect to your trainer, who may or may not listen to this. He's obviously a trainer for a reason, and I'm not.
Yeah, man.
But just looking at it, I was like, man, that looks like something. If somebody was like, hey, do you want to do this? I would say, no, that looks dumb. But at the same time, I looked at it like, I was like, but that's probably like an arm burn. Like his arms and shoulders probably were dying after that. Yeah.
And that was the end of the workout. That was the burnout. So we do quite a few different things. And then at the end is the burnout, man. And he's like, all right, this is what we're going to do. I'm like, so when I first started working out with this trainer, like he's come up with some crazy things, but it's actually been working for me. So I pretty much, hey, whatever this guy says, whatever he does,
right?
Hey, man, I'm going to go do it. I don't care pretty much whatever he says now. It's like, I'm going to do it, man. And I'm going to find a benefit from this. One way, shape, or form, whatever I'm going to be doing is whatever body part we're going to be working out that day. So it's going to be excruciating, painful, and suck and all that stuff. And I'm going to deal with it and get through it, and it's going to make me a better person from it. So, yes, some of the stuff that I've done are questionable. Would I do that on my own? Probably not. But at the same time,
that's why you're using him, because he's coming up with it. Right. There's a reason why he came up with it. Yeah. So no disrespect to him. I'm just saying, like, if someone gave me the option,
he's a mastermind.
Do you want to do it or do you not want to? I would say no. But at the end, but also, like, I guess in order to, in an attempt to say I'm sorry, like I was watching highlights of the CrossFit Games because they're going on right now. And there was one where like there was like a very long distance handstand walk.
Yeah.
And then there was like they had to go up a ramp, and then they had to like do a handstand push up without a wall. And I'm like, okay, like I'm looking at it going, the winner of this is going to be given the title strongest man in the world. Well, there are two different ones. So there's going to be strongest woman. The one I was watching was men. So the handstand walk I was watching was men. So whoever wins this ultimately is going to be given the strongest man in the world. So it's like, okay, big deal. Like you can handstand walk the longest. Like how is that functional? Like how is that? At what point in my life am I going to come across an opportunity where I'm going to be like, man, I really wish I had worked on my handstand walks. So, I'm watching it, kind of poo-pooing it like, this is dumb. Like, why are they doing this? This doesn't make any point. But then
it's a feat of
detached
athleticism.
And stood back and said, well, number one, I couldn't do it.
Exactly.
I can't do it. Number two, to handstand walk, stop with no wall, do a handstand push-up, and then come back up. Your head has to touch the mat. Yeah. And they had to do that multiple times. Yeah, I'm like, that's still a level of difficulty. So, yeah, you know what? That takes a lot of strength. That takes a lot of
strength,
upper body and core balance. Strength and balance. Yes.
So much going on in there that we just look at it and like, oh, that's kind of stupid.
Yeah.
Why would someone walk on their hands when you got two working legs? But I mean, that's the thing though. Do something completely different. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty crazy. Challenge yourself.
So put your chest on that bike seat and use the fucking handlebars and row until you want to rip your arms off.
Until I want to die.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's going to make me stronger and better. And I'm going to look funny. Exactly. People are going to laugh at it, but who cares, man? I don't give a fuck what people say or think or whatever. I only care about certain people, like family members, certain friends, things like that.
Yeah, that's the
biggest thing, man. That's the hardest thing, man.
That is a hard thing to overcome, and I get called out on that a lot. Like, you care so much about what everybody else thinks about you, and I find myself having to quantify that and say, it's not that I care what everybody thinks about me. It's I care about what the people that I care about think about me. The ones that I love and respect, and I want their respect as well. I care what they think about me. It's not everyone.
Well, I would say there's a certain image that I want to portray to my friends and family members. Being strong, capable, protective, self-sufficient, things like that.
Yeah.
So I do care about those things.
But also, you could do that in a way where the phrase, the quote, it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. Yeah. So you can look meek and mild and fragile. Yeah. But at the same time, be lethal. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, no one needs to see.
And that's why I portray that.
Yeah.
As best I can.
Like, as long as you're, as long as the people that you love and care about, they know that they can rely on you and that you're capable.
Yeah. But that's
what matters.
But that's in my own mindset too. That's why I keep pushing harder and I keep doing these things to better myself and become stronger and faster and smarter.
Like the thing we said earlier, expect to self-rescue.
Absolutely.
Don't rely on anyone else.
Right. Absolutely. That is the hardest thing. So, I don't know, man. We've been going at it for 2 hours and 3 minutes.
All right. We got another 57 minutes.
No.
We're not going 3 hours?
No, we're not Joe Rogan. We're not even close to Joe Rogan, man. So, but what do you got? What do you got, man?
And this cup, this Viking cup.
I don't even think it's real Viking thing. I don't think they're real runes or anything like that. Who knows
runes
what
on it? It looks like it says Pepsi to me. It's been throwing me off the whole time. Like it looks like it says P.
Probably says like water, frog, fish.
S-I. Like it looks like it says Pepsi to me. It's been throwing me off the whole time.
Oh yeah, because of that P.
So you asked me before when we were doing an audio check.
Yeah.
About barbecue in Texas. So like food is, even though I can wear a medium shirt now and fit in a size 34, 32 jeans and slip them on without unbuttoning them or unzipping them. Thank you very much.
Easy access.
food is still big for me. Like I told you, I recently made my own pasta, which was a lot of fun. It's a lot of hard work, but it's a great result. And as far as my mother and I know, like I'm the first in my family of Espositos to make their own pasta. So I'm gonna give myself a little
back there. There you go.
So that's fun. So food's important to me. I like cooking. I like learning new recipes. I like figuring out how to cook. Different stuff and different ways of cooking. And a lot of that has to do with like providing. Like Amber gets stressed out when I cook because I get very serious and I get very I get this look on my face. She thinks I'm stressed out, but it's really just a lot of focus because it's like one of those things. There's not a lot of things in my life anymore that I have a fear of screwing up. You know, like when you're growing up and you're playing sports, like you want to be the best so that you win. You know, you want to practice hard, you want to work hard, you want to put forth your best effort. Or when I was when I was playing an instrument, like I wanted to practice hard, I wanted to perform correctly, I didn't want to miss my mark or play at the wrong time. Especially being a drummer, like that's not something you can quietly do. As a drummer, if you don't come in at the right point, or if you play at the wrong point, everyone's going to hear it. Drums are loud, so it is what it is. And then on the job, with us being on SWAT, like you didn't, like there were times I screwed up on SWAT. Like we just had one of our brothers pass away recently. And he was, I was telling Amber, like we did a hotel job or motel job where I was the breacher, and it was one of my first breacher jobs. And I breached and I screwed up and I entered first, which being, a fellow breacher, that's not what you're supposed to do. And I breached and I entered first and I drew my handgun and the guy was sitting on the bed and he like reached under his thigh. And that was like one of the very few times I went from register to like on trigger, because I was like, holy shit, like this guy's reaching for something. And luckily he was just trying to stow whatever the fuck.
Just shit his pants and he wanted to wipe his ass.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. But it turned out to be nothing. But the point is this brother who, was the team leader at the time, or the ATL or whatever, and recently passed.
Shout out to
rest in power. He could have blown me up. He could have treated me like a rookie jail guard piece of shit, and he didn't. He told me what I did wrong. He addressed it, and he had me learn from it. And he could have raked me across the coals, and he could have put me on the back of the stack and the rear with the gear, but he didn't. So
that's true leadership, though.
Exactly. Yeah. So I thank him for that. And my point is like, so that was like, something where you wanted to excel at. You wanted to make sure that you did well to not let anybody else down, or just regular, whatever we did on the job day to day. I really don't have that anymore. So like I get that out of cooking. Like I want to make sure that I make a successful, delicious meal that everybody can enjoy, and I've screwed it up. Like I tried to make beef stroganoff.
You do like a 3-hour PowerPoint before to do it, man. 3 hours of PowerPoint of 15 minutes of instructional.
A couple months back, I tried to make beef stroganoff from scratch and I screwed it up. I burn it. It tastes like crap. And I burnt the mushrooms and I burnt the beef and I burnt the noodles and it tasted like crap. And I was pissed. I was hot. So, so being able to, that's something I get a lot of enjoyment out of. And like I said, I made my own pasta and that was cool. And you gotta find that thing in your life that gives you that motivation, that gives you that drive, that gives you that happiness, that gives you that structure, that gives you that joy, that kind of focus, like it was cool. We went, did you watch that show on Fox, Next Level Chef, by any chance?
I don't watch regular TV. I just stream stuff.
Yeah, you could stream it. I guess.
Good.
I don't know. Maybe you could. Yeah. But
I'm not.
There are a bunch of chefs from our area. There was like a guy from Maryland. There's a guy from Washington Township, New Jersey. There was a girl from Medford, maybe she was up north. And then there was another girl from up north Jersey. She lives in Philly now. And there was a guy who used to play on the Eagles. Like they were on the show like the second season. Mm-hmm. And they recently did But there was a ton of other people like from all over the country.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a guy from New York, a former firefighter from New York. So the firefighter from New York, the guy from Maryland, the guy from Washington Township, New Jersey, and the one girl who now lives in Philly that she was originally from, I think, North Jersey as well.
Yeah.
They did a benefit dinner in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And we went and we got tickets. You had to pay for.
Oh, that's cool.
2 plates. Yeah, we went and saw them, and we got to meet them and talk to them. Like, and that's awesome. Like, so that's like my, that's like my new thing I cling on to now. Like, like online recipes, like, bookmarking recipes and watching their videos and trying to replicate the things that they make. Like the one guy, Matt Groark. He's the teacher from Washington Township. He actually teaches at Washington Township schools, and he does barbecue. Like he made a mac and cheese recipe that I replicated for Easter, this past Easter dinner. And the one girl, she makes she's Asian, so she makes a lot of Asian dishes. So I want to like replicate, her stuff. So you got to find that next thing that, you find passion in, that you find enjoyment in, and that you want to do, that keeps you motivated to make others happy.
So that's something that kind of goes into my last question here I would have for you. But Jocko talks about that, of having something like your next mission.
Next mission, right. Exactly.
He says next mission. So having the next thing in your life, to have purpose, fulfillment, things like that, and finding that, because a lot of people, they retire. Some people, I hear them, they just pass away because they've lost all that stuff and they don't have anything to replace it. Or a lot of people go into depression or alcoholism, so on and so forth. So a question I have for you, since you crossed that finish line of retirement from what we do, or what I still do, what you used to do. How do I word this?
Like, what's my next mission?
No, I don't. That's not the question. The question is, I have lost hope in humanity.
I lost hope in humanity like my second day on the job.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. So like have you gained that back? Do you trust people again? Is there hope out there? Or are you always looking over your shoulder? Are you always questioning people? I mean, I guess you've lived it for so many years. I mean, it's like we're institutionalized, if you want to call it, or it's ingrained in us.
Yeah. So I think.
So how do you find joy in life again? Is it you cooking?
So one thing personally is, some may or may not know, like I'm 3rd generation CO. So like I grew up with that place. Like I was there when there was a tree in the middle of the lobby. Like, like there's probably still one of my diapers in the dumpster out back. Like, you know what I mean? Like I've been there forever. And then I spent my entire adult life there. Like I grew up there.
Yeah,
so
18, you were 18.
Yeah.
18.
Like it started as a civilian and then did that for a year and then transferred over. But the job I did as a civilian is done by law enforcement now. So like, whatever.
Absolutely.
So like my point being is like, I've experienced a lot of that job for a very long time. So it didn't take me long to lose faith in humanity, to not want to be around people. And like I was actually talking to Amber recently. We were talking about like what was it we were saying, like what job would you want to do, or something like a regret. And I was like, like one of my regrets is like taking that job. Like, did it provide for me financially? Yes. Did it provide homes? Did it provide for my children? Does it give me a pension that the state allows me to have a little taste of, thanks to divorce? Fuck you, New Jersey. But at the end of the day, like I used to be an outgoing person. Like I used to enjoy being around people. I used to enjoy interacting with people. I used to be artistic. I used to be outgoing. Like, so I think in a way the job makes you more aware of the dangers of society. So it gives you tools. And this goes back to what Jocko said in Philly. He's like, what has the war done to me? Yeah. And he talked about that. He talked about the negatives and the positives. Mm-hmm. So, absolutely, I'll say that. So there are some positives the job's given me. It's given me skills that the everyday citizen doesn't have. It's given me awareness that the everyday citizen doesn't have. That's probably kept me out of danger and kept my family out of danger and given me more of a positive outlook. It's given me opportunities. It's given me healthcare. Like I had a major health scare a year ago that, like if I didn't have health insurance would have killed me. And I had great health insurance from the state that I was able to be in the hospital and get surgeries and be repaired and, be better off for it. So, it's given me, experiences and stories and, and tools in my toolkit, as an adult male that not everybody gets. Mm-hmm. But it's also done things it's taken away from me. Like, again, you have any faith in humanity. You got to sit with your back to the door, or not. Your back to the wall, facing the door. Excuse me. You don't like crowds. You don't like being around a lot of people. Yeah, absolutely. You automatically assume the worst in everyone. Yeah. So there's things like that. So I'll say, when you retire, when you're approaching retirement, you got to have a plan. You can't just wake up one day and be like, okay, you know what? I'm done. Put my paperwork in. No, you have to have a plan. And then you have to have a backup plan because everyone has a plan until they're punched in the mouth. Yep. And Mike Tyson, quote unquote, potentially something like that.
Everyone, everyone said that.
No, so you got to have a plan. You got to have a backup plan. And I think, and so like Amber's father, like I said, he was DPS trooper, undercover narcotics for years. I mean, the stuff this guy did, like he pretended to be a biker and, was, running drugs, and he was involved in, the cartels and all this craziness. Like he survived all this stuff. And when he retired, like, I don't know the exact time period. I'm probably going to get it wrong, but there was a period of time close to his retirement. He was just on his boat bass fishing and he had a heart attack. Like, I mean, you don't get more relaxed than bass fishing, right? Like you're sitting on a, boat on the river, just chilling, throwing a line out, reeling it in, and he had a heart attack. Like, and that's known in 3 months. Yeah. 3 months retired.
Yeah, man.
30 years, 3 months retired. He has a heart attack.
Yeah, man.
And that's, there was other guys that have retired from our department that have fallen into the same thing. They've had heart attacks or they've died. Absolutely. So it's because your body's going at like 100 miles an hour, and then just one day zero. Boom, that's it.
That's it.
And that's what I mean. Where you have to have a plan. Like you have to have a plan. You have to have a new mission. You have to have something to jump into, or else your body is not going to be able to transition into that. Mm-hmm. Your mind isn't going to be able to transition into that. Mm-hmm. You're going to go stir crazy. Yeah. You have to, for the longest time, and what we do, we contribute to society, whether we like it or not. Even in the field that we specifically work, where you work in and I worked in, we still contribute to the community in some way, shape, or form. So you still, whether it be volunteer work or whatever it may be, like you still got to find that next mission. And whatever that may be, and this is to answer your question, you got to try to find a way to make that positive.
Oh, yeah.
So that you can rekindle and rebuild those things that the job did to you that was negative. And so I told you before we started the podcast, I got hired and signed on with a private security company who I will be doing armed security for schools.
Yeah.
And, when I retired, the last job I wanted to do, I didn't want to be, law enforcement anymore. I didn't want to be the bad guy. I didn't want to tell people what they can and can't do. I didn't want to, impose my will on anybody anymore. But the one thing that I liked about this job in particular was, as I had an opportunity to work, be alongside and influence youth. So for the longest time, it was like, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that, enforce the rules. You know, the majority of what we say every day is no, 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 no. It's very, very rare we say yes. And in our line of work, we don't get the cat out of the tree or get the old lady's purse back or find the missing child. It's just a lot of negativity. So
100%.
in this, the reason why I, pursued this next line of work and, accepted an opportunity with this company is because I had an opportunity to do something positive, influence youth. I have children along the same age as the kids that I'm going to be working with, so I can kind of instill a lot of that, lessons with them. There might be kids out there that don't have good parental figures or, whatever, or need a good father figure or something like that, And at the same time, I'm going to be actively trying to stop one of the worst things that are going on in our country right now, which is our schools being soft targets.
Yes.
Which is easily fixable. It's very easily fixable, but
by having
the powers
retired
that be,
law enforcement, military members,
and the government don't want to put forth the money to do that.
It's crazy.
So, in order to rekindle those things that we've lost over the years in the job, you need to, in your next chapter in life, actively pursue something that's going to give you that faith again. Like everything's not going to be fixed. I'm never going to sit with my back to the door ever again. Like that's just is what it is. I'm going to, I think it's the Marines. I'm probably going to screw it up. It's like, treat everybody with respect, but have a plan to kill everyone.
Yes.
Everyone you meet. Like that's just going to be the way we are, until our dying day. It's just something that we've learned. Sure. But I'll be able to learn once again to be comfortable in crowds and to not want to avoid going to parties or avoid meeting new people or automatically assuming the worst in someone. It's those things that, when you retire, even before you retire, like, hopefully.
I'm starting to think about that now.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I got like 6 years. I got like 6 years to go, man. But I'm starting to think that now.
The sooner that you can fix that,
transition into that mode, man, and slowly but surely, get there. Time is just flying by so fast, man. So, that's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah, I hope 5 years does fly by fast. Yeah,
it will, man.
So that's my very long-winded answer to your.
That's good though.
Short question.
That's what I like to hear, man. That's what I like to hear. So we're going to wrap it up on that. We're going to end it on a good note like that. And I want to say thank you so much for taking the time out of your day.
No, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
I also want to say is that when I had this idea, you were the first one I was talking to about this. Mm-hmm. Remember? Because we listened to Jocko, and Jocko said, create your own podcast. And I thought about it, and here I did. And here it is, man. Here it is.
Boom.
It's a work in progress.
No, I think you're beyond the work in progress. I think you are progressing. Like you've already, you've got it down pat. You've got it nailed. I mean, you went from just putting it out there and putting random episodes on YouTube, and now you're on Spotify. You have I can't remember if we told about it on air or not, but you have listeners around the world. So you're technically worldwide. And no, I think you're doing really good. So, we joked around earlier and said there's like 5 people listening to this and 2 of them are in this room right now. And the other one's on a video call. So, it's the other guy from Uganda and the one from the Netherlands.
She's on a video call too.
Yeah. And, but I think, you're beyond work in progress and you are progressing. So
just keep progressing and that's it.
Yeah.
Keep moving forward.
Yeah. But you know what? And I want to say about your show, thank you for having me on. I don't care what you think, how minuscule it is or whatever you do. I don't want you to downplay it. I want you to be positive about it. I want you to act like it's as important and as popular as Joe Rogan Experience.
Oh yeah, I'm the East Coast Joe Rogan.
And I like that you are going other places, interviewing other people.
Oh yeah.
And you stepped out of the range because in the beginning it was just like, your friends and coworkers. You are branching out. And I think you need to continue to do that.
I am.
And I think you need to have more confidence in yourself and just shoot your shot and reach out to just everybody and anybody. Because I mean, you know,
and that's what it. Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
And give yourself the opportunity. I think even when you travel, you should look into doing remote podcasts too with local people that, you know, because you mentioned earlier about traveling, you know, this coming year. I think you should try to find an opportunity to remote podcast with somebody and, you know, make the most
I'm
of
still
it.
working all those things out. So,
Yep.
those are definitely things.
Don't rely on the same local yokels or, you know, inflated ego dumbasses like me who think they got it all figured out, you know.
You were inflated. Now I think you're deflated a little bit.
I deflated about
that's
over
what happens.
100 pounds. Yeah,
Someone fucking popped your bubble.
Yeah, physically deflated.
Let all that hot air out that you had.
Yeah, this is true.
Oh man.
Yeah, so I can't wait to be back on with Ill Will from the Ville. We'll have a whole fucking, you know, Italian, you know, podcast.
Absolutely, man.
Serve some vino. You know, maybe I'll make some fresh pasta and bring it over and
yeah, man. Figure it
out. Do that, but thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Our ghost guest over there.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll have to schedule it around the next time the Texan comes up.
Yeah, you know, absolutely.
Invades Yankeeville.
Yeah, she can whenever that works, man. We'll make it work. All that stuff. So I want to say thank you to the crowd out there. If you guys enjoyed this episode, let me know. Write down a comment below. Hopefully you got something out of this from a man that finished the race and is on to his next race in life there. And yeah, man, if you want to be on a show, reach out to Dom, reach out to me. Anyone and everyone is willing to come on the show, man. Definitely love to have you on, hear your story and all that stuff, man. We'll just chill, have a good old time. And that's pretty much it, man. So hopefully you guys have a great day. Thank you very much.
Slanja.